Do that. Go there, do that. Slice that over, do that. Oh, there we are. I'll hold this here just to hold it here. Take a look as I do this, do that, and do that, and do this. Welcome, people, to Kiwis Road. This is James. Kiwi, unfortunately, is not here. She's at home with Mama. This is Miner's Madness. Talking a little Forrest, Fenn, time, people, and change. And the other day, I was talking with my father about how words matter, because it's a process that I'm learning myself. Words matter, right? But this morning, as I was talking with my father, he mentioned how that time is just going on by, that it's just getting faster and faster, and that he wishes there's that wish and hope for more time with the people that you love. And there you go, boiled down, well said. Forrest Fenn was teaching that. Okay, welcome to Miner's Madness. That's the gist of it. I mean, one of the things I remember growing up with my father that I've always kept on my mind is that he told me that the older you get, the faster time would go. And that's something that I've always held in the back of my mind, just because it was something that was made sense. It's a sensible thing. It's a sensible statement. Can't argue with it, There's so many things that go on in your life that your time is preoccupied, in a sense. Young, middle age, and older age, etc. So that being said, I think that was one of the key values that Forrest Fenn was sharing in the Thrill of the Chase. And that there would be Forrest Fenn, time, people, and people with Kiwis. Oh, time, people, and people. It's supposed to be time, people, and change. I wonder if people will notice. I guess if you read it that way, it kind of would make sense. Yes, no, probably no. But it's supposed to be change. Living at home for my teen years, taken away from home for the military years, and then my adult years ish, young adult ish, mid age adult age, and then coming home now 30. My parents have been married for 30 years, so to hear the stories that they share about their relationships with their past significant others, hearing how a lot of things that they would change or wouldn't change. One of them is, well, we'll keep that one. And just a change, that people would make. And I think, in a sense, like Forrest Fenn states in his book, that he would do it all again, keep the people the same, just make the circumstances change, so that as you're re-experiencing life, you're re-experiencing new, different adventures, etc. Allotted more time, I guess, in different ways. But I wonder if he would have done it knowing what he knew. Oh, it seems like there's some people that are coming out into the train depot. Welcome, people. Hi, how you doing? If I forget to say hi, how you doing again? If I've already said hi, how you doing? It's open Zoom. Click on the link. Hop on in. It's supposed to be Forrest Fenn talk, time talk, people talk, and then it's supposed to be change talk, but then it ended up being people with Kiwis road talk, I guess. Either or, it don't matter. It's all good. But I mean, life simplified, and I guess that's in a sense what my father was saying this morning in the kitchen is, if you can simplify life, the only things that really matter, the older you get, the more importance it is the time and the people. He spent all this, and I was mentioning this to my father the other day. Like, I think it was like lunch. We were having lunch yesterday, and I was using the salt and pepper shaker. And I'm like, Dad, see this line? This is your guys' lifeline together, you and Linda's. And I guess, one was the salt, the other one was the pepper. I'm like, as you're doing, as Linda's doing walks, her time from this timeline of between you two, she's drifting this way. And for him, I was showing him that on their lifeline, his time with his stuff and whatnot was drifting this way. And so I guess a better way to be like, see this, and then my parents, my mom, my dad, she's walking out in nature. She's going this way. My dad's got stuff. He's drifting this way, and I was showing him the difference that when they're at home, they're together, but the things that they do, they're separating. And the importance about this is because of time and people. The amount of time that we spend. Hey, Galaxy, how you doing? Thanks for stopping by. I hope you enjoy the ride, even though we're just talking for spending time and the importance thereof and whatnots. Hop on the Zoom if you like. It's open Zoom. It's so anybody can come on in and BS about time and whatnot and Forrest Fenn and whatever else they got to want to talk about. It's raining today, so it's a down day. But I was showing him how our time with people, how it drifts. And so after I got done showing this to my dad and listening to my parents, talk about what they do and don't do together, because he called her up on the phone. He's like, "Well, what would you like to do tomorrow? James ain't gonna be here." And she's like, "Well, you know me, I like to go walking." And of course, I'm sitting there seeing him, and I can see his facial expressions, and it's like he's like, "Yeah, okay." And he's like, me, movies, couch, I'm good. Let's go out to eat. I'm good. Simple. And it's not this, and yet they refer to each other now in this life together as their best friends, and they became best friends. They've learned to love each other. They know each other in and out. And that's one of the hard things is the more you know about somebody, it makes it harder, you know, I guess in a sense, depending on how bad or good it is, to separate. And it's not to say that they're separating or anything, but I ended up texting my wife and saying, "Hey, if you don't mind, make a list of the hobbies or time consumer things that you like to do in life that I can meet you halfway, so that me, a person who really enjoys doing nothing, as you can clearly see, I mean, I enjoy doing nothing so much that I'll sit here and talk to myself and create a video diary and let people come on in and chitty chitty chat chat. I mean, why not? But my time can be, better well spent, yes. But these are choices that I knowingly make. Um, I'm looking at the bigger picture, so to speak, when I'm choosing my time wise, the way I choose it lately. But it's my wife likes to walk the dogs. I don't like to walk the dogs. I know I need to walk the dogs with the wife, because if I'm walking the dogs with my wife, when I'm not there walking the dogs with my wife, it may seem like I'm there walking the dogs with my wife. Now, with that statement, if that doesn't make any sense to you, then I mean, Forrest Fenn in Thrill of the Chase, he kind of shares that. He's talking about, like on page 15. I hope I can make it work the way it's supposed to, and I think it alludes to these types of things. How to use your time in a sense with the people you love, so that you can make a lasting memory, so that when you're not there, that memory is strong and almost permanent in other people. Now, I could be wrong, and I most likely am. That that might have been some type of idea that he was maybe conveying. But I mean, I only gather that up from reading Forrest Fenn and his words. And I mean, as I went through, I would sit there and read, and I marked down certain paragraphs or sentences, and I would put down time right next to them, because the emphasis I felt that he was throwing out there on time was something of great value. And so great value, people consider that to be riches or treasures or even a trove. So even though that there was a trove of gold in a box somewhere along the Rocky Mountains, and Appalachians is out this way. I mean, it's well, it either was or it wasn't. None the case. I mean, the only way to find out was to get out there and prove that 0.01%. Unfortunately, there was only one person that did. Well, that's what it is. But there was still more to the word trove or treasures. Treasures for us when we were looking at this was treasured memories that Forrest Fenn was sharing. Some of his treasured memories that really had an impact again, because I would put I so on this train ride, I like to normally say, I hope you have a drink. If you have a drink, I hope you have a drink. I got my drink. Food. People get hungry because there's smoking sections on the back of the train and in front of the train, especially the boiler room. Sometimes, things get a little warm in the area. Got to let off a little steam. You throw it in there. Oh, I want to say, just in case he's not here later on, but may or may not see this later on. Troy, happy birthday! Today's his birthday, I believe. Why must I go? There's just, let's see, the thrill of the chase, and as Forrest Fenn in time, right? People, and in a sense, I'm not so much worried as, well, I guess for Forrest Fenn, the people, his family, his siblings, where he was, where he wanted to be. Let's see if I can't skim through this quick. And anybody, please hop on Zoom. The Zoom link is right there. There's a disclaimer. This is, and I can't emphasize enough the importance of page 15 for us, especially when you have Forrest Fenn in time as the title of this video. Birth, life, and death. These are phases in time we all must travel. Sometimes the prospect of death, it changes people. It changes people in a way, hopefully for the better. Sometimes it's not for the better. And I'll, just because I like to, emphasize, I hope people bring a blanket or a pillow, because there's be points in times when I'll just read from the book and just put people to sleep. But to me, it just kind of makes sense. It's little dots along. Think of, like, let's see. Let's see if I can't do this. You ready? So, like, that tree right here, this big tree that you can see, okay? This big tree you see is Forrest Fenn, the thrill, the chase, the lifeline that is him, right? Every story that he tells is a branch that comes off of this tree. And so that's his lifeline. He's talking about the age where he started learning stuff from school, the caper design, the buffalo thing in the car, Yellowstone, Golden Moor, etc., right? Within each branch, there's bits and pieces that are very important, the details, the minute stuff. In order to understand why Forrest Fenn would have hit a chest all the way up, wrong tree, get over there, that tree, at the end, I had to learn his lifeline and all the stories, etc., blah, 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 right? So 15, like I said, there's birth, there's birth. All right, we'll use this tree right here. There's birth, there's his life, and at the end, all the trees fall off, the tree dies. That's just a part of life. That's his life. Boom, right? He knows this process, but he's a knowledgeable man. And for him to write on a single page is such a bold statement, I feel. Not a day passes that I don't question myself about what lies just ahead and whether or not I can make it happen like it's supposed to be. And I pause right there, and I've been telling my dad, I says, look, yesterday it was supposed to happen, but it didn't happen. Today's raining, so it's not happening today. Tomorrow's Sunday, hopefully it'll happen. I told my stepmom, I says, look out your window right now from your kitchen table and take a picture. You have this camper that's been sitting there for 30 years. Hopefully, it was supposed to be yesterday, but I ended up breaking my dad's sawzall. Don't ask how I did that. But hopefully Sunday, when she looks out there, she could take a new picture at the end of the day and see it was supposed to be what a difference a day can make. But I guess in this case, what a difference a weekend can make. But the idea is she envisions a future where this stuff isn't here on this property that is an eyesore for her. My dad, for him, I mean, it's, gold and treasures in one way, shape, or form. I mean, it's what makes him happy. He dilly daddles, pulling things apart and breaking it down. He enjoys that stuff. His body, however, doesn't enjoy it that much anymore. But hey, that's how it is. That's the phase. That's old age. His tree is getting old. And so right now, what I'm trying to do is facilitate this very first sentence so that my dad can envision this upper property with less stuff so that his wife's vision is more pleasant. And so I'll continue reading. Now near at the end of my 79th year, each day tests me in a different way. And my dad's like 75 or 78 or something like that, in a different way. And I know that before too long, I'll make my last flight to where even memory itself will never have been. Now that statement right there, when my father went into the hospital, I mean, he had an MRI done or MRI done of his body, had some readings on his brain. They didn't say what it was. He finally went in. They told him, you got 3 blockages. And the doctor told him straight up, dude, you can walk out of here and you can have a stroke and possibly die, or just stroke out. Or you can live 20 years and nothing would happen. That's an inflection point. That's something my dad had to sit there and recognize and be like, it's bad enough. It's bad enough. It's bad enough that 2 years ago that my father went in to so let's see. Let's say 3 years. 3 years ago, they were going to do something to go in and check his heart. or no, yeah, no, 2 years. 2 years ago, they were gonna go through the groin to check his heart and stuff like that. My dad was like, nope, that's not gonna happen. Now, my stepmom, she could sit there and see the decline in him as far as like his color, his movements, all these little things. He would sleep later, he was more exhausted. The heart is working harder to try to sit there, and it's wearing out. So they go to the hospital, and they go in and to finally get checked out. This time they can go in through the arteries up in the neck. So they go into the neck and they can check. And so turns out that he goes in, they check him, and he's getting ready to get his clothes, and they're like, sorry, you have to stay here because we don't want you to walk out and have a heart attack. They admitted him, and then he had a uno, dos, tres, cuatro, quadruple bypass on his heart a couple years ago. So right there should have been an inflection point, as far as the prospect of death. I mean, he could have walked out and had a heart attack. He had 4 clogged arteries or whatever. Crazy stuff. But now he's got this brain thing on top. So, I mean, he had the quadruple. He was doing good. And then now all of a sudden, you got the brain thing. So, I mean, besides him literally now being clinically, on the process of, you don't want to do that, blah, 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 blah. Moving along. Okay, chat. What's the chat saying? Anybody can come in to Zoom. Let's open Zoom and BS with me. I'm just reading some stupid stuff about time and people. What are y'all chatting about in chat? Galaxy MJ, how you doing? Granite, how you doing? Welcome. We saw. So will Granite, do you think Jessica Posey will ever show the inside of that chest? It'd be interesting. His name is Forrest. What is Forrest? Trees and trees. Family tree genes, right? And so, I mean, that's kind of like part of like the legacy thing, the things we leave behind, the stories we leave behind. And it comes from the people, Sooner or later, each of us will be nothing but the leftovers of history or an asterisk in a book that was never written. Yep. And I told my dad, I'm like, I'm not gonna be an asterisk on a book that wasn't written, because y'all are part of this non-asterisk. Because even you guys that you have YouTube channels, Facebook, you're no longer. I mean, in a sense, before like the digital stuff kind of came along, books was the way, So you would have to have done something great or good enough that they would put you down in a book. Well, guess what? Nowadays, I mean, you just sit there and do a video diary, and people check next, blah, blah, blah. All of a sudden, you're famous. Not this guy. I mean, there's people that do stuff like that, They're making like all kinds of crazy money doing all kinds of crazy stuff. Why? Because they sat there and did some kind of crazy video on the internet or something. Time. Jump starting the learning curve. I think that was a pretty good thing for time. What we've learned is that you should always tell the truth, but you should not always tell all of the truth. Boy, oh boy, those 5 minutes. Took them 5 minutes. 5 minutes were better than all the diplomas in Texas. I had just learned about fear, hate, ethics, dread, moralities, passion, honesty, subterfuge. I still don't even know what subterfuge means. Truth and a bunch of other things I can't even remember anymore. And that was with his father, That and with my father, that's so. Forrest apparently wrote a song, right? And if the way I listen to me, it sounds like a man who's singing about. I hope you find somebody that you can look up to the way I have found somebody that I can look up to, and that person that I look up to would be my father. Now I could be wrong, but to me, that's the plot I get out of the that song. But the tying thing is in that song is the time and memories that we make together with each other. For for him in that song, oh my brother being Skippy. Let's see, where else did I write down time? I mean, it's important. So I might, hopefully, I don't have to, but I might have to be here a month, a little bit longer than necessary. But hopefully, I don't have to. Things are going good so far as far as the downsizing. In case anybody's interested on the downsizing of this area. I mean yeah. Oh, there's some more people on the train. Feel free to come into the Zoom, get access. BS about whatever. Let your voice be heard. But then again, there's probably that disclaimer that scares a lot of people off. And like, let me click on this link, and it's like blah 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 blah. You're recorded and you're being shown on the internet. Yep. And I mean, it is a good or bad disclaimer, but hey, I'm trying to be upfront and let people know, hey, this the whole purpose of this. I mean, it in the sense is it's time and place. 100% of those shot down will go into shock, and this is my war for me. 87. 100% of those shot down will go into shock, and it can kill them. Lie down, elevate your feet to get blood to your head, and think tranquil thoughts. So I thought about being with my father on the Lamps River in Texas, with a bobber in the water, catching 5-inch bluegills. And again, that's time, people, and a memory. That. I'm almost through this book and I ain't come up to it. Oh, here we go. My War for Me. There's another time one. 98, third, well, I guess like the second full paragraph, but third paragraph down. Then and knock it, let's see, important and emergent individual to be in the whole scope of life. Yeah. That innocuous incident made me wonder how important an average individual could be in the whole scope of life. An asterisk, we can either be an asterisk or we can sit there and use our mind, our voices, and our hearts and be able to do crazy, stupid stuff like me. I'm doing a crazy digital diary about life lessons I've learned that I've had bad things happen. I've learned to look at them and turn them into positive things. Hopefully, I can, if somebody, one other person can, get something positive out of it, then I've succeeded. And I think that was one of the whole points that Forrest Fenn was trying to do. It was make that point is I've succeeded as long as, I made a difference in one person's life. Because at the very least, I'm making a difference in one person's life, and that's mine. And if somebody else can benefit, then it should be you and me to try to share that so that somebody else can benefit in theirs. I mean, I'm watching my parents and their interactions at this age. And it's showing me, like I've said the other day, the things that I want to take that's positive from their relationship and apply it to my own personal relationship, whether it be with my spouse or friends or people on YouTube or Facebook. You know what I mean? The things that they do that I don't like or may disagree with, those are the things that I'll keep in mind and try not to do. And it's interesting how keeping an open mind and sharing how things affect them, and how they're changing to facilitate those thoughts and emotions in the other person who expressed it. For example, and I like this one because it's kind of cute, though it may seem kind of creepy. But my mom would sit there and go out for walks. She likes walking. That's as a time consumer. I mean, that's Taco Tuesday thing I'm going to go about. But as maybe a coping time consumer or just a hobby, she'll go for walks. And her concern was my father wouldn't call and say, "Hey, where you at? What are you doing?" or anything like that. She finally came home and expressed her thoughts and emotions to him, saying, "Hey, how come you don't do this? What if something happened to me? What if, I got in a car wreck and you haven't called to see what's going on." Now, I didn't know this at the time, but when I've been here for a while, I've noticed that my father, like almost every 20, 30, 45 minutes, he hops on, ring, 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 ring. And it's always, "Yes, Jim." And it's like, he's calling. He got the hint. They were able to communicate. And so now he got the hint that every now and then I'm going to call just to see where you're at and see how you're doing, make sure you're enjoying yourself, etc., etc. These are things that I'm going to apply to my personal life so that I can make sure that at the very least, and I think this is my mother's nail or hammer on the nail on the head, hit the nail on the head thing is, and it goes with, I think, that asterisk is, are we asterisks in other people's stories? Or are we nailing the head, or as in recognition? Recognize that I'm not here. Recognize where I'm at. Recognize that absence. When I'm here and I'm talking, recognize that communication. She wants the, "Hey, right here." Oh, wait. No, wait. Right here. Recognition. But I mean, there's he's sitting there and blah, blah, blah. "I'm playing hearts. I can hear you. I can do two things at once." But that's not the point. It's the recognition. Again, the recognition. She goes up to visit her own daughter and the grandkids. And it's like the high and then the bye. There's no in between. She'll play with the grandkids and enjoy the time with the grandkids, but it's that recognition, And I think that's where the people part come in, time and people. It's the time we take to recognize the people who are either in or out of our presence, whether they're alive or dead, whether they're in the same room or, across the country or across the world. I mean, and I don't know, that's just kind of the two things I get, basically. And to me, somebody who's willing to take $1 million worth of gold and silver, that if this stuff was copied, the gold and stuff that was copied and sold on an auction website, they did a pretty good job of copying the stuff. With that being said, there's also a comment picker video I just got thrown out there that I created. Look it up. It's Forrest Fenn coin giveaway number 988. Because it all ties into the entire big scope. I just had to throw that out there soon. I just had to throw that out there. But let me continue going through your time again. 100, my will for me. Oh, that's what I was saying. Was the guy was willing to there's physical and metaphysical things in this world that we see or don't see, we know, we don't know. When you dream, you are dreaming in a metaphysical thing, but you're dreaming of a physical, like here's earpods, or now you know what earpods I'm looking at. I use these JBL. So when you start to close your eyes and you're thinking about these, you'll think about these. It's a physical thing. That's also a metaphysical thing. That's how ideas and inventions come out, et cetera, blah, 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 blah. But the man, I think, went so far to show the importance of time and people that he was willing to give away $1 million so that people would go out there and change their life and create memories with the time that they have and the people that they know. That was worth $1 million to him. More or less, that was a good, it got me out there. 100, my war for me. Looking at time, looking back now, I feel as if I was being slowly educated by a larger hand, one that I could not then identify. Talking in time. Down at the bottom. So in my mind, these lines have converged to tell a story that satisfies me in my heart, where only there it really counts. I justify expressing my thoughts here because they have been pounding at me for so long. So he's had things going on in his life, stories that he's been wanting to share, things that he's been wanting to get out there, points that all of a sudden he was hit with the prospect of death. All of a sudden, all these things started to line up. And all of a sudden, he survives. So years after, he starts putting this all together, and he comes up with 3 books called The Thrill of the Chase, Not Far But Too Far to Walk, and Once Upon a While, where he's got a message that he feels so compelled to tell that he's willing again to give away $1 million, give the proceeds from at least the first book to the Cancer Association or whatever it went, and then press on. The value of that treasure trove that he's shared continues today and every day thereafter. And it's a valuable lesson that I appreciate and I take to heart, And that's why when somebody mentioned, I did a community post with a picture or something about the trailer, tearing down the trailer, and I said something about staying in the camper, as long as I got a moonroof, So I put a moonroof in the camper. And somebody was talking about the time and then, now, in the difference, and even about PTSD. Where was I going with that one? Don't worry, it'll come back. But it was a good one. Just time and people. So in my mind, these lines have converged to tell a story satisfies me in the heart, blah, blah, blah. I read that one. My orphan 102. The fun side is that it really doesn't matter who we are if we are someone to ourselves. This digital diary Kiwis road that I started is pretty much kind of this. And the things in the Miners Madness and this train ride that people come and join me on that I've created is, for me, is something enjoyable. This is who I am. So it's not, and it's, no one else can think my thoughts. So I am myself only to me. It's like, why not share my thoughts? People have good ideas and good thoughts. They've all had good places that they were searching for one reason or another. I mean, the history and the ideas that people come up with. it came from, you know, the book at the very least, because I wouldn't think that a person was looking where they were looking had it not been for the thrill of the chase. The book is storyline. 103 time. When this realization hit me, at last I knew if I cannot enrich those with whom I interact each day and cause them to be better for my having passed their view, then I have wasted my turn. And this goes to what I was saying about creating Kiwis Road, hopefully sharing personal um, life experiences, positive or negative, and hopefully it might help somebody else out. Again, people, open Zoom. Feel free to come in and BS with me with the rain in the background. I mean, I am by myself just reading a book. It's lonely out here, right? Nobody wants to come on and talk on Zoom. That I succeed in this endeavor is not as important as it is for me to make a solid try. And that's all I can ask from anybody, and anybody can ask from anybody, and anybody I hope would ask from me is that I'm making a solid try. And I think he made a very good effort and solid try when he did the thrill of the chase, and I think he succeeded. Because people who have come by this book, I would hope, had come to at least a positive outcome. So he would have succeeded in his endeavor. I would say, at least with me. I can't deny that. So there was no result failure. And this is one of the things right here. And I think this kind of one of the two. So now at last, at least for me, I know. And if no one should ever think of me when I have passed this veil, it will be of no consequence. For I have finally found my way and am at peace with it all. Or at peace with all of it. So all those life stories and stuff that were building up, and then he's hit with this life and death cancer thing, and all of a sudden things change, and he's surviving. Now he's got a book he's got to write, and it's like, oh my Lanta. He got all his stories out. He got the message he wanted to convey to people. That was worth putting out a box of riches somewhere for somebody to find. And it wasn't necessarily about this at all, I don't think, at all. So much as it was all of these stories inside, the treasure trove of his memories, sharing the importance of time and people. As I continue on, let's see. I know there's like one or two other pages that got the word time on here. Hey, Paul, how you doing? Ian, glad to see you in here with Yellowstone. How you doing? Open Zoom, come on in. Like I said, I keep saying come on in, but nobody wants to come in. It's okay. I don't blame them. I wouldn't want to come in and talk to this guy anyway. It's raining. There's nothing to talk about except for time and people and the things we do that make the memories last. Oh, here's another one. 117, Tea with Olga. Olga was at peace at last, and I suspected she may be having green tea with her father. Time had taken them apart, but it eventually brought them back together. Oh, my Atlanta. Oh, this is a big one on time. I could go visit my father and talk about our favorite fishing holes and writing a letter on the Madison. Now, for a snapshot of time through the Forrest Fenn lifeline, he did leave us this. Hello. Check out the little pictures. I got an X in that one because it wasn't where I found him. It's like Yellowstone, fishes, some more fishes. Fishes. They like fishing in this. But that's not, I'm not, that's neither here. I'm just pointing out that besides just using words, a picture is worth 1,000 words. I could be wrong. There's a statement or quote somewhere out there. Oh, I lost my YouTube stuff. Not on there no more. Flying blind. Oh, time. Fly water. 124. There comes a time, maybe it's in an age, when all of us reflect on the happenings that marked our passage through the breaks and thickets of life. Most are conjured up by reverential spirits and are reserved for times when we happen upon the solitude of just ourselves. Yeah. Oh, Flywater 125. This one's got time all over this page. At the bottom. Now this is, I think this one here. So like Flywater. This is my Flywater. So my Flywater, as I was doing it, it's got all kinds of highlights and underlinings and stuff like that. Stuff. It was stuff that as I was looking, I was highlighting the things that I felt was important, and then I wrote down. You see like right there, treasure, like treasure, different meanings for treasure. For me, treasured memories. Many others who have loved those waters before and after me understand that catching fish is not what it's about. It's the being there in the tranquility and silence of oneself, or within the gentle call of a friend when he hooks a nice one, or tells you of a moose and a calf that just came out of the pines to feed on the water grasses downstream. But that's just treasures, it's a treasured memory. So when I was looking at the thrill of the chase, when I was looking at the poem, I was using the word treasures as I have gone alone in there and with my treasures bold. Memories was one of the things that connected me to the most with the thrill of the chase and the possibility of where he may or may not have been. But at the bottom of 125, and again, this title is Forrest, Fenn, Time, and People. And it kind of best sums it up. Hey, Rob, come on in, open Zoom. Anytime I see a new face in there, Ian, come on in, open Zoom. Galaxy, open Zoom. Yellowstone, open Zoom. Who else is in here? MJ, open Zoom. Hit the link. Come on in. Unless that rain's getting too loud. This is why I'm out here today. I'm not working on the campus. Though you probably can't even hear me, and it probably seems like I'm yelling anyway into the microphone or something like that. And you're all like, this guy's talking to himself. We can't even hear him. It's raining outside. This is ridiculous. Flywater 125, bottom paragraph. And when my tackle box is closed, at last, and the caddis hatch is gone, I will rest through all of time and space, pillowed down and scented in, with a smile that comes from remembering the special things that brought me to that final place. One of which was knowing Peggy was there somewhere waiting for me. And connecting all the memories, Let's see. Almost done. Golden Moor, what else? And we got time in here. Plenty of time. Why? Because it's raining. Golden Moor 129. Then one night, after the probability of my fate had finally hit bottom, prospect of death. This is where I talk about prospect of death, I got an idea. It had been so much fun building my collection over the decades. Why not let others come searching for some of it while I'm still here? And maybe continue looking for it after I'm gone. And we'll continue talking after that truck's gone. And all this road construction going on Route 20 up here that there's a lot of these dump trucks driving back and forth, which y'all probably been hearing them going back and forth, not knowing what was going on doing construction over there. So I decided to fill a treasure chest with gold and jewels and secret it, leaving clues on how to find it for any searcher willing to try. It was a perfect match of mind and moments. Ha! I liked the idea, but it would take some planning and the clock was ticking. No matter how far away a date is on the calendar, it always seems to arrive sooner in the face of unpleasant situations. Again, I can't emphasize enough the basic three words that I felt Forrest Fenn was sharing in the thrill of the chase. And so the poem, for me, to try to find where he's going, is I had to understand the first stanza, which was key for me, in a sense. I mean, that wasn't my key word. Reverence was my key word. But understanding, as I have gone alone in there and with my treasures bold, I can keep my secret where and hint of riches new and old. Now that first stanza has at least two different meanings. It has a physical meaning and it has a metaphysical meaning. The physical meaning to me is as I've gone alone in there, obviously he went alone in the woods with treasure. I mean, he's bold enough to 20 something pounds of gold with a 20 something pound box. And he would put it in a secret spot that was secret to him. And obviously it's gonna have hints of riches new and old. Old hints or old riches are obviously what's inside the box, The new riches or whatever would be the new stories. And so there's that metaphysical aspect to it too. The storytelling, the story that goes along with these things. And memories being something that a person can treasure was something that was the metaphysical portion that kind of drew me to the areas in which I was searching. But down at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the fifth stanza, the second half, the answers I already know. I've done it tired and now I'm me. I mean, it's just that time thing. It's come to a point in his life that, he's counting I wouldn't say he's counting the days, but he's cherishing the days, the times and the days. That the breath to be able to take, So, well, there's another time, 1:35, but that's Dancing with the Millennium. Most of those thoughts discourage me because there may not be any more history in the making like there was in the past. And worse, what can one person do that might impact life 1,000 years from now? Or 1,000 people? I mean, he's done something in the thrill of the chase that has impacted a lot of people. I mean, people who write books about people who impact other people are supposed to be there to impact more other people, right? The whole inspiration to the inspiration of inspiration. Oh, my lantern, that's a giant spider flying around. It's a pterodactyl. Ah! Hope you didn't see it. If you did, don't worry about it. It's scary looking. 1:47, and there we are. We're at the end of the end. See? The end of the end. But it's not the end of the end unless you want it to be the end of the end for this. It's the end of the end of this. But this, y'all are still there. Every day is a new day, a new story to tell. Whether it be good or bad, it's one to share. The important. Oh, I got one wet boot and one dry boot. I wonder how that happened. See what happened? It's raining. All right, last call. Anybody want to come in to Zoom and BS about what I just was reading with Forrest, Fenn, the thrill of the chase, the time, and people? Feel free to come on in. Let's see. It's 1:35. I'll give it till 2 o'clock. If nobody wants to hop on, that's cool. If not, who knows? It's always a long goodbye, right? And that's why I say later Gators, because I know and understand now the importance of time, the importance of people, uh, the importance of words matter, you know. Later Gator. Hey, get off of my bird feeder. Sorry about that. It had a bird on the bird feeder, and it's the hummingbird feeder. So they won't let you in. I wonder why. I wonder how many people were sitting there trying to click come in and it wouldn't let anybody in. That don't make any sense. Let's see. Is it something on my side? Participants. Invite. I hit the invite. Is it the wrong link? No, that should be the right link. Let me see. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna. Oh, I want Let me do this. I'm gonna hit the messenger. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna send that to myself again, just like that. My saying is done. We have to go back to here, go back to there. You can see me here, and I'm gonna go like this over to this one. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna hit this. Oh, and we're gonna do this one. Oh, that's why. There we go. Let's try this again. I know exactly why. Ha! My bad. So I'm all saying it's open Zoom, and it's not open Zoom, which is funny stuff. No wonder why I'm sitting here talking to myself. Oh wait, no, I don't want to do that. Stop. There, you want to pin this? Pin. Replace pin message. There we go. Okay. Now that the train conductor has finally got off of his medications and figured out what's going on, anybody in the room is now an open Zoom because Zoom is now open. Apparently, I had the wrong Zoom link up there. My bad.
Are you serious, man? You know what I had to do? I tried to get in here for about 20 minutes. I'm like,
so
man, come on, Kiwi. Got me thinking something's wrong on my end.
I wonder how many other people are thinking the same thing.
Well, nobody's speaking in the chat room, but I told you something's wrong at your end about 10 minutes ago.
There's something wrong with my what?
On your end, when I try to get in, it'll say invalid ID. Try again.
Yeah. I seen you sitting there saying, won't let me in.
Because on my end, it said invalid ID when you click on the Zoom part. And I'm like, this makes no sense. Because I even put in the numbers manually and it still didn't go through.
So I had already earlier I went live and I had sent the link, but then I had closed it and then it started a new one. And so when I pinned the message, it was still the old link and not the new link. And so I had to resend myself the new link. And we got person.
Yeah, well, I tried on my part.
So I wonder how many other people tried and they just didn't say, hey, man, it ain't working. Oh, well. Hey, everybody, now that the Zoom's working, you can see Big Rob's in here. So I don't see why this ain't working on here. Why is it not? What happening? My video's off. It's on. It's on. But it's not showing anything on here. What's going on? Oh, there it is. So what are you up to today?
Going shopping.
Yeah?
Yeah, I gotta do some shopping. Some grocery shopping.
Nice.
Yeah. Deal with the crowds.
That's not nice. We don't like crowds.
Nah, I've been around a lot of people my entire life. Now I just want them to go away.
it's and that's I think when growing up and looking at life now, it's strange and amazing to see that how life is differ that way. That the family dynamics that people want or expect, it don't happen that way. And then next thing you know, you just you feel like you're better off. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah, yeah,
forget
sometimes.
everybody else. I make myself happy, and it works that way.
Yeah, because my old man worked at the Chicago Board of Trade, and I was always around people, and it was always loud. And I'm like, man, this is, I got used to it because I was a runner down there, do out trades and all that. And I remember all the noise. And then you get home, you can still hear the noise, even though you're at your own house. But yeah, I was always around that noise, and now that I don't have it around, I'm like, oh, thank God I don't got to hear that.
You gotta admit too, though, sometimes it
When you get older, you want a little bit less than what you had when you were younger.
yeah. Well, that's one of the things my dad told me. He's like, it's a good thing your wife doesn't let you have much now because you wouldn't be dealing with all this stuff when you're as old as I am.
That's true.
It's like, yeah. And after he told me that, I ended up texting my wife saying, "Thank you, sweetheart, for not letting me bring so much stuff home."
Yeah, it's just a clutter, man. You know.
Yeah, this guy's got a lot of clutter. He's been a hoarder. So, and it's part of like I hope what Talking Tuesday goes on for is about disease and addictions and coping mechanisms. But this is definitely one of his disease coping mechanism, blah 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 stuff. Because the traumas in our lives, and then it's sad because some traumas break families apart, and some traumas bring families together even closer.
Yeah.
Oh,
It all depends on the person.
kind of weather you got out that way.
Sunny and 61.
Oh, I got to sneeze.
Still getting real cold nights. We stick it down in the 50s here.
That ain't too bad.
Yeah,
So,
but I don't like the cold.
right? Though it makes you wonder, though, would you rather be in a cold area where you can put on as many layers as you can, or a hot layer area where you can only take off so much layers? Because you start taking off your skin, you might as well just throw yourself on the barbecue.
In all reality, I'd rather take the cold, but as I get older, I think I could take probably the heat a little bit better because I'm anemic, so I'm always cold.
So your blood flow and stuff is probably low then, huh?
Yeah, pretty bad. I'm on medication for all that.
No more. Have Ian's got a question for you, the chat, or I guess you. I have a question for chat. Anyone in here spending time studying the memoir? Wonder what memoir Ian's talking about.
The memoir.
Jack. And I think he told Jack he was under agreement for certain. The ending. I got my own personal thoughts. It is what it is.
Yep, same here.
It is what it is.
You can't change it, so I mean, let it be what it is.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing we can do that would change anything. But if there's things that's new out there that original that does change things, then that's a whole different story. I mean, I believe in patsies. I mean, patsies are used all the time, So it's possible. And I agree with a lot of people. I mean, you look at the thrill of the chase, the trauma itself that has caused people in their lives, whether good or bad. See, the word trauma, I need to learn a different word. Life situation. When a life situation like the thrill of the chase enters your life and it may or may not improve your relationships and stuff is one thing. But everybody did suffer uh, the change in a life situation when the chest was found. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. I was like, I don't know, man. I was near heartbroken and confused at the same time because I told myself, I said, man, if it came from his mouth, it's over. I mean, this is not hearsay, you know.
Yeah,
So that
and it did. You know.
and I remember looking at my wife at the time and my brother, and I said, it's over because I heard about it that morning. They're like, what's over? I'm like, the face. They're like, oh, it's been found. I'm like, yeah, it's been found. But and
I
that,
was
that
up.
that was more heartbreaking for me than anything. I was like, damn, I felt like I wasn't in it long enough.
Yeah,
Because I came in 2017.
yeah, you're a couple more years than me. I mean, I only had 2019. And that's like one of the reasons why I like the Madison project that I started is I'm curious how many searchers have been out there to the Madison, has looked across at that rock and has taken a picture, whether they were searchers or not. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
I just mean anybody at any point in time who's been to the Madison River at 9 Mile Hole. I'm looking for those pictures because I'm curious myself. Is it possible to stand there at that rock and be like, oh, this is a place that so and so, hey, get off of my bird feeder. Get these woodpeckers, they like this bird feeder over here.
Oh yeah.
It's the hummingbird feeder. So I gotta make sure they stay off of the hummingbird feeder. But it's yep, I don't know where we were going with that one. That woodpecker like ruined my train of thought. Put a hole in one of the boards. Train's derailing.
Oh, that's all right. Keep going.
That's the thing. I don't know what we were going on about.
We were talking about 9 Mile Hole and looking at the rock.
Oh yeah. Madison Project. So it's like it's not whether you believe in 9 Mile Hole or not. All I want to see is if you were standing either at the parking lot or on that bank or by that rock and you were taking a picture across that river, would you see a giant tree that was struck by lightning that would have been there ever since Forrest Fenn, I guess, would have been there because
No,
I don't think it was a blaze. I don't and here's one of my things is there's two things how I look at this. This is just my perspective. I don't see a fisherman fishing out in the woods like that. I see a fisherman fishing with his father at that rock. That makes sense. But fishing in the woods, that don't make sense. Now, he may go out there and enjoy being out there. That's his heaven. I'm not meant to understand it, but it is a little confusing. I mean, even standing at a rock in the middle under the water, that would be, that would be a good heavy loads and water high.
oh yeah, I totally agree.
Fishing off the other bank, I could see that. But 150 feet up off of the bank in the woods, I have a hard time there.
Any type of water is dangerous. Any type of water is dangerous when it's moving like that.
Yeah, I mean, like it's raining right now. If I step out there, it's dangerous. I'm gonna get soaking wet, cold, slip on these bricks or something. Then again, it might get me out of work for another couple days.
I waded a lot of rivers my entire life when I was younger.
Uh-huh.
And I always tell people, they're like, oh, how do you go out there without knowing the river? I said, oh no, I know this river by heart. I've been wading this since I was a kid. But in due time, the river really sink even deeper because of pressure of water. So
Well,
I noticed some of my holes that I used to fish in, I couldn't go in there no more because it was over my head.
it changes, yeah. So
You
I
know?
mean, you got to think about this though. Every summer for what he was young until his what 17, 18 when he got out of school. He was always up there for 3 or 4 months working those rivers, fishing and teaching people, or doing it on his own or with his family. He was always out there on them rivers and lakes fishing. So just like you, he'd know these areas, he'd know these things. So it wasn't just a random, I'm gonna cross here, put this here or whatnot. It would have been a place he relatively known for a long time, I think.
Yeah, but that's like me going at 79, 80 years old to that same spot. And I would tell myself, oh no, I couldn't do it at 80.
I don't know, somehow.
I wouldn't even attempt to do it at 80 what I used to do when I was younger. Because I would know, people shuffle and everything, when you get
Oh,
older.
yeah, I was just about to say my dad does the penguin shuffle. And I can't expect him on a good day to sit there and try to lug twice, you know, 400 feet, uh, 20 pounds, I mean, I don't get it. I don't see it. But then again, Forrest Fenn might have been one of them old guys that sit there and ran marathons once a week or something. I mean, things change, and if cancer changed him to be a stronger, more physically, more mentally uh, person, then who knows? It's anything's possible, but the likelihood is like I just don't see it. I have a hard time, myself, but maybe that's just me. Wet legs and whatnot. You throw it's like my legs are nice and stiff outside the water, but as soon as you throw these legs like spaghetti in boiling water, they just get all wet and nimbly. You know what I mean?
Kiwi, look at your age right now. What are you, 40 something, 42, 43?
Yeah, something like that.
Can you imagine now? Imagine, just in your head, at 79 or 80 trying to cross that. Think about it.
I mean, I would do it. I'd have fun doing it, but I'd have two walking sticks.
But you ain't 79 or 80 years old yet.
Hell no, and I wouldn't want my dad doing it either. There's a guy in here with no facts. Maybe he could share some facts if he ain't got no facts. Facts are facts anyway.
I need some facts here.
Hey, it's
Welcome.
Ian.
Oh, it's Ian. How you doing, Ian? Hey, Amy, how you doing?
Hey, good. How
Open
are
Zoom, people.
Hi,
By
guys.
the way, you got what, Ian?
Oh, I was just saying hello to both of you.
Hola. How's your day going?
My day's great. I'm here with my son. It's sunny out. There's still snow on the ground, but you can feel the spring in the air, so it's really nice.
Oh, making me jealous. How old's your son?
Hey, he's 10 now. I was gonna say I'm jealous
Nice.
of where you are, man. You have rain, and it looks beautiful out there.
Well, it is green and it's wet like a tropical rainforest. Yeah, you can have the tropical rainforest back. Yeah, it's decided to rain
Is
today.
it? Are you up in like where are you that it looks so nice?
Massachusetts, Charlton.
Canada.
Ah, okay.
Canada.
Hmm.
I ain't even know Canada. Even Idaho's not Canada.
Pretty close to it.
Yeah, if
Well,
I lived up north
Kiwi,
in Idaho, but yeah.
hey, I just stepped in here for a minute. I know it'll end up being longer than that, but you know, I like what you said today. I like how you were reading about time, and I like how you went into the book and found a lot of kind of just phrases, elements that kind of related to what you were thinking. I think it's almost like it's somewhat of a bittersweet thing too. I think because, like you said, in Olga, that time had taken him apart, but time had brought him back together. So time is like this double-edged sword, I think, to Fenn, where he can see himself getting older, but he also sees the newer generations coming. I also think that's kind of the idea of the double omega, is that the beginning
Yeah.
of one thing could be, or the beginning of one thing, it could last, and then there's an ending, but that is also kind of the beginning to something else.
Two stories, two omegas.
Yep.
Yep. Yep.
I
So
totally
anyways,
agree with that.
yeah, I wanted to bring that up, but I had more than just a question before. And I'm wondering if you guys would entertain this thought really quick.
But, well, I ain't doing nothing else but watching it rain. So yeah, shoot away.
Okay, now this, I've given up on trying to to discuss much of what I know, but I do have a question for people out there. And it's kind of serious because I'm kind of slipping away from the videos that people are making. I like yours personally because it seems like you have a heart. Seems like a lot of people out there just, for lack of better terms, I have to say ignorant. And it's by definition, it's ignorant. To be able to have information brought to you and it's correct, but yet you deny it. To me, it's somewhat of it's not an illness. It's just what people would call ignorant. And I'm not saying it in a negative way. That's just what it is. And so it's not really a specific question, but it's more of, I want people to think of this and maybe someone can come up with an answer, because what I'm wondering is, and let me think how to put this so I don't mess it up.
It's okay. If you mess it up, we'll just rewind it and stuff.
Let's do it. Yeah. But I hear a lot of YouTubers, I hear a lot of people out there complaining about how there's no new info and all we're doing is just recycling the same old thoughts. And, I heard Troy the other day saying there's nothing to talk about anymore. And
It's not.
Heard a couple other people saying the same thing. And
There's not really.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying is I agree wholeheartedly. Is I have listened to these shows, and not yours all specific, because maybe they haven't been around, but I've been listening to these shows probably like you guys have for nearly 8 years. And people are correct. I can't even listen to shows anymore. And because people, they just talk about the same old stuff. And to me, it's like, are we really going to discuss this for another hour? And then, to me, I'm kind of blown away that when new info is presented, if it doesn't match a person's idea, they shoot it down.
Right.
And so I kind of am, I'm a little confused, but yet to me, it's validation. I'm kind of confirming in myself. I'm like, I can get out of this because no one is paying attention. Nobody is coming up with anything new. Everybody's just stuck in their same routine. And it's, by definition, it's insanity. You're trying the same thing over and over and you're expecting a different result.
Right.
And to me, I can't handle that too long, but what I'm wondering, I guess, in this long-winded way, and I'm not calling it a short story at all, but in this long-winded way, why is it that it's not why is it, it's more what I've done is I've presented information to the public. And I'm not saying I'm a solver. In fact, I know I'm not a solver. The hunt's over. And that's not even the deal. My deal is like a riddle where you know the answer, but you
Uh-huh.
don't know how the person got to there. That's
Right.
where we're at, is everybody
Right.
knows the answer, but nobody knows how we got there. So there's like this element where I'm wondering why it is that I am able to bring something to the public that is 100% fact. There's no doubt about it. I'm not trying to be too offensive to Street, but man, that guy was rude the other night. And yes, I have facts that I would bring to a court of law
Yeah,
based on probability.
yeah, probability don't win in court, man. I'm telling you that right now. You're wasting your time if it goes to court. I think what's been said about Wyoming too is probably Wyoming. I think we're just putting our bias towards the story more and more. So I mean, people, you see how people are just in a rush to get answers. I mean, to me, I'm not in no rush either way. It doesn't affect my life. I'd rather interact with friends that have more of an impact towards it than it would be the story. So I mean,
See, that's what I'm into also, Rob.
but
There's no more talking about treasure and gold.
oh yeah,
It's really like we're here to interact and
Yeah.
like develop how we got to that answer. There's no I'm right or wrong, other than the fact that if there is a fact, and the facts, when I say facts, I'm not saying it's confirmable by Forrest Fenn. What I do is I go, there are probabilities, and there is an idea that, say, lightning can strike a certain spot 1 in a million times, and you can call that random. But if
Well,
it
it can
starts
strike the
striking
same
that spot,
spot.
well, yeah, if it strikes the same spot over and over and over, you start wondering, how is that probability like that? And what is in the ground? Because there's something there.
Drawing
It's
it,
not
yeah.
just
There's
striking the
something
same
beneath it.
spot
There's more
over
to
and
the
over and
story.
over. Yes. And so just to kind of yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, in a sense, I see one thing is there's the school teacher approach to this whole thrill of the chase. You have the problem, and you have the answer, which is the problem is there's a chest out there that an old man hid. The answer, here's the chest, and we're gonna sell pieces of it. The thing that's missing is the solution. How did you get from point A to point Z? How did you get, -2 plus, +8 and times that by like 98 and it's divided by, you know what I mean? With the cross underneath there with the pi sign and all that other stupid stuff. That's the part that everybody wants, that I see lately in the Chase marketplace, is everybody's lined up at that dessert counter waiting for that solution. Like I said, the answer is there. A lot of people want that solution. People have come up with their own solutions, and things. There's things out there that work.
If they're not getting the solution, they're forcing their own solution. So they're just saying, oh, well, you know what? Nobody's going to tell me what's the solution. I'm going to make up a solution, and we're going to throw it out there. And then it copycats each other. Copycat. And that's how.
Or they deviate and they add something here or take something away.
Social media works like in drama.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And so and this is how I look at it too, is that solution, the only way you can get the problem and the answer is the missing link, which would be Forrest Fenn. And this isn't to knock anybody's solution down, up or down, sideways, left, right, saying it's wrong, it's not. I mean, this is my own personal bias of the problem is there's a chest out there that man hid in the mountains, right? We all can agree with it. Anybody that watches YouTube, anybody that's on Facebook, anybody that knows anything about Forrest Fenn, he put a chest out there. That's the problem. The answer,
I agree with that.
The answer is there was an auction. There's parts of that chest that was sold off: gold nuggets, dust, jewels, coins, etc. Yada yada. That's the answer. The solution is
Nobody
within
knows.
these pages. That's the solution. The only way I can get
Okay,
to the
Kiwi.
only way I can get to this at the end is by knowing the solution that Forrest Fenn has either A, been within so many feet of such a place. If I look up whatever heavy loads is, I would have to hopefully find out somewhere within this book that might have a reference to heavy loads. So why not highlight it,
Okay, let me
underline it, put
stop you there.
circles around,
I just because I'm on the same note as you, this is exactly where I was trying to go with this, is that when I asked you the question in the chat, it was who out there actually studied the memoir? And they might be studying it now, but my point is exactly that. I'm not a believer that it was just the poem. I don't even care what Forrest said
Right.
to Troy, and I don't care what anyone said to anybody. The deal is if the internet shut down and we had no digital, our libraries of Congress are existing for that reason. We keep physical copies of things. And so this book is kept in the Library of Congress or wherever it is. So my point is
So would that make it a historical document then?
that's what I think. I mean, it goes a lot. I mean, now it's part of history. It's actually part of history now. But and when Troy mentions that, like, oh, well, a poor person can't, what kind of poor person has the internet? Who has a computer, but who can go to a library for free and look stuff up? So no offense to Troy, because he actually is he seems to compliment people, which I like.
Oh yeah,
But
he's
my
a good
point is
dude.
that just to be the devil's advocate, just to be the devil's advocate, a
Well,
book is
so
free. I mean, come on.
my devil advocate to that would be that I would say that would be specialized knowledge. If Forrest Fenn sent a personal email to another person and making that statement, then that would be personal or specialized
Yes.
knowledge. Now, if it was posted on something outside, now if he had said it in the thrill of the chase, that's one thing. Or once upon a while or too far a walk, that's one thing. If he came out and said it after those 3 books, I have to take it 50-50 for whatever it is. And then unless I hear a video of Forrest talking, all those are after the facts. That's like being in Forrest's heaven.
Yes.
For me.
Oh yeah. What if his mind is slipping? Like what if Forrest's mind starts slipping and Shiloh and them don't notice it, and say Forrest has some weird has a bad day and he forgot a pill, and all of a sudden he tells the searcher something that's not even real, but yet a figment of his imagination. The whole idea is that the book is all you need to find the treasure, because yes, the poem is inside of it. But yes, I mean, Kiwi, or see, I wish I knew your real name, but I'll just call you Kiwi. Kiwi.
I like Kiwi, but it's James. James or Kiwi.
Hi,
it don't matter.
James. Nice. So James, if 100 years from now, Forrest Fenn, the internet, it all wore out, some guy goes to the library and finds this book, all the instructions are in that book. Like you're not going to find the treasure off the poem. I guarantee it. In fact, there's no probability in guaranteeing it. I can't guarantee it. It's just, I'm so confident that you can't, because every word in there has 4 meanings, and then you multiply it times 5 words per line, 24 lines. You're like, there's so many meanings that it's just impossible. And so you have to go through the book. But again, that's my belief, and everyone's able to have their belief. I truly think a lot of people wasted years of their life just looking at that poem and just trying to analyze that poem, and because we have no clue what warm waters were to him. I mean, back in the day, warm waters were steamers.
But at least, so I wouldn't necessarily say, I wanted to back it up a little bit.
They didn't waste their time. Yeah.
Hansel and Gretel. Is it Hansel and Gretel the one that leave the breadcrumbs in the forest when they're traveling through the forest? so they can find their way
It's
home.
been so long since I've even heard that one.
Well, there's said about like kids that they would leave breadcrumbs behind them so that they could find their way home as they went into the forest. That to me is what the thrill of the chase is kind of like. It's his Hansel and Gretel. He's leaving his breadcrumbs so that he can find his way home. His way home would
Yes.
be his memories, his heart, and his stories. Now, I would think
Yes.
because learning about the words in the poem, using just the poem, I could get you from I could get you from my search area to where I was searching, but also to where the chest was using just the poem. Now I can, but it's easier to get you there using the book because the book is the meat and potatoes, the sauce, the salt and pepper, the seasoning. I mean, the
Yeah.
spices, anything and everything to make the meat and potatoes taste really good. You know what I mean?
He did say on record.
Yeah.
Did say on record, you just need the poem and a good map. He never said nothing about a book.
And like I said, I could get you there knowing what I know
Yep.
now. But knowing what I knew before the chest was found, I could get you within 200 feet.
Correct.
But I mean, other than that, but now knowing the design, and that's why I think it's important for me, is that's why I started the Madison Project, was how long was this so-called lightning struck tree that was supposedly the blaze? And I mean, how would you know that was the blaze or that was the correct blaze unless somebody had informed you what the blaze was, what you're looking for, and if it's broken or not, then you would know. You know what I mean? Those are some of the thoughts that crossed my mind.
Exactly. Well, but Kiwi, exactly, or James, that's exactly right though. How could you, and how could that tree last for 1,000 years? I mean, there's so many different.
Yeah.
Okay, so that right there means you have to be able to read the memoir. I mean,
Yeah.
the memoir tells you the answer. And what if the blaze did not mean anything that had to do with lightning? I mean, what if the blaze had to do with something totally different? But that's exactly what we keep talking about. And that's why I'm trying to interject with you guys here, is that we keep talking about the same stuff. And most people are getting sick of it, or they are slowly slipping out of the hunt, or they're starting to believe whatever they hear from random people and random things. But now let me ask you this. If we all studied the memoir, have you ever heard the phrase perception is reality?
Yeah, I guess so.
A person's perception, it's a huge it's like a selling thing where you learn that a person's perception is their reality, and you're not going to change it. And that's what Forrest was saying when he says it doesn't matter who you are, it only matters who they think you are.
Yep.
Yeah, and
it's their
so Fenn
perception
knew
of
that
you.
this was going to be it was going to be a disaster with millions and millions of perceptions. And Fenn had to use something in some way to clearly put what he meant, not what other people thought he meant. And that's where probability comes in. And I'm directing that to Rob, because probability is everything in the court of law. And I know it because I've been through that and I hated it, but it's true. There's a point where everyone in the court of law goes, I'm innocent. And then the court is like, well, how are we going to prove that you're not? And that's where probability comes in. You bring up evidence, you bring up facts, you bring up things, and you bring it to a jury. And they go, well, it's, probable cause, all this. And this is how we determine that you're guilty and you're going to the electric chair. But that person who's going to the electric chair swears he's innocent. And everyone else has no clue the truth.
Well, didn't Forrest Fenn say that there's a million blazes out there?
Yeah. Oh, I mean, there's infinite.
That's just a million people that would be looking at it, I would think,
Uh-huh.
It's
Yep.
just, it, I can sit
So-
there and tell you I got a cell phone, but there's
Uh-huh.
different types of cell phones. You got a perception of a cell phone. Rob's got a perception of a cell phone. You know,
Or your earbud, your JBL earbuds. When I hear of earbuds,
that's
I think of
right.
those weird ones. And I don't know crap about earbuds, but thank you showed it to me. So now I have a perception of what you use as your earbuds because you physically showed them to me. Now, a lot of people out there, if they didn't watch you, they would say, oh, earbuds. Yeah, he's talking about those things I have in my pocket. And sure
Yep.
enough, they're going to be
Or the
Apple,
corded ones.
Samsung. Yeah,
Yep.
exactly. So we're proving the point right here. And this is new in a weird way, but I'm going to just burn one more second here by saying everybody had a perception of that book. Okay. Now there's
Yes.
infinite. I mean, as many for the rest of our lives, people are going to have a perception. Now, what I'm trying to say is, let's say the general public had a perception of the book and they thought, well, this is a memoir. A memoir is supposed to be about true stories that Forrest wrote about himself.
I think the general conception out there was this was a treasure hunt.
Okay.
And that's why it got
Well,
so
either way,
much attraction and attention was, here's $1 million out there, and here's a guy that wrote a poem in a book on how to get to it. I think that's the selling point. That's what's on the front of your brain. Treasure map, treasure poem. I can get this.
Well,
Not necessarily the stories behind it until you actually have to read that first stanza and try to understand.
well,
The first stanza replies to the entire book
the
in order
sleeve,
to read the rest of the poem.
the sleeve has the treasure on the front and back, but you take the sleeve off, then you got a memoir. That's all you got.
Okay, now hold on. I think this is where we're diving off in that tangent because what I'm really trying to get across will be very important to everybody. Okay, just really quick. I mean, it's not even quick. I'm not gonna lie, but this is where I'm trying to get with everybody because it's new information, and I'm pretty well tired. And there's hearing all the same people.
There's no treasure in that memoir book unless you open it, but it's on the sleeve. There's the selling point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the visual candy.
I never looked at it like that.
Oh, I did.
No, I didn't until just now. Thank you. That makes sense.
No problem. Take the sleeve off.
Okay. Well,
if I took that sleeve
go ahead,
off,
Ian. I'm sorry.
Well, no, I mean, this is all good. I'm just listening more. But what I guess my point though is that let's just say for an example, and this is totally an example. Let's just say that I thought the memoir meant a certain thing. Okay. Let's say I'm going to throw some out. Let's say I thought it meant something about Christianity. Right. And so my whole search is going to be based on my perception of Christianity and how I feel that book
so now you got
itself
two different things,
Okay, now this is why I'm lost with the community, is I have brought this info to people. Now, what happens if somebody brings up something with factual, like kind of proof that not only does it not have to do with Christianity, but it actually has to do with like Lucifer specifically, maybe they're in the right realm, but let's say Fenn
that's
actually,
that person's perception. Again, I mean,
okay, now and I get perception though. Go ahead.
I was just trying to figure out the best way to say it because I think, if I'm not mistaken, there's the perception of Forrest Fenn. What Forrest Fenn says and what Forrest Fenn does. That is one thing. There's the perception of what other people think and interpret what Forrest Fenn says and does, which is a whole entire different thing. That's two.
Yeah.
Now you got the perception of a book that he wrote, which whoever, whenever, however they read it, that's a whole entire different. So
and you have
it's like
the
that
perception of the words that are in it.
So to take it for what it is, at what level of percentage, Because I think it makes a difference when you're trying to say, and I'm not trying to say you or not, but when people are trying to sit there, oh, I know for a fact that Forrest said that 150 feet of fishing line. Well, I don't know that. And just because somebody says it and somebody shows me some fishing line in a spot that Forrest Fenn has been, doesn't necessarily make it. But for
True.
them,
No.
it's perceptually factual that that's happened. You know what I mean?
Agreed.
So, and that's all I'm trying to say is there's different
Yeah,
levels. in
no,
which
to me, that's all
perception
ludicrous.
Can be accepted.
That's not ludicrous. How is it ludicrous?
Well, no, I think
What
it is only
happened?
because the whole point that I think even Kiwi knows is that we can only use the words in the book. And that's where I gave up, is when I said, everybody out there has just got this perception when all you are allowed to use are the exact words in the book. And so we're never going to find a solution without Fenn, but I guarantee that we can find something with a probability that will convince the entire world what is right. And it's not, of course, just like Street says, you're never going to know because Fenn can't answer you. Well, of course not. I mean,
Well,
the
whole idea was
the point is that we were given evidence.
Here's the thing. And this is what made it important for me. And this is how I got to where I got and why I got to where I got. Within 200 feet. Forrest Fenn wrote a book and then he died. That was my perception. I can't rely on anything else out of that. And the process back home in which I'm working on with the whole mapping thing and circling out stories and stuff to kind of show how I got to where I got is just that, is the premise of that whole intention. If this was supposed to last 1,000 years and it's now in the Library of Congress, it would have been that Forrest Fenn had passed away. The only way to know this, I have to read The Thrill of the Chase, look at the poem and try to line that up with a map. That's the only way it works, is if Forrest Fenn had passed away. But unfortunately, not unfortunately, rightfully, but unfortunately, he had survived. So the unfortunate part is everything now that Forrest Fenn says after he wrote this is being taken in a different perception outside of what he just meant in this timeline. You know what I mean? Because he didn't
and before everything before.
Yeah, I mean, so you got everything in that book is his life story from what he remembers growing up, the key stories that he wrote down. And then he gets cancer and then he passes away. But he left a book, his memoir, so that at any point in time thereafter, you can use it, just that, and hopefully find it. With him sticking around, now you got two things, and everybody's feeding off this and that, especially what Forrest Fenn's saying, and it's like, oh my God, we're coming up with all kinds of different things. And next thing you know, we're all in different places. And Forrest is, I mean, when I read this book, just this one so far, I looked at the second book, just first few chapters. I really didn't read Once Upon a While. So if Colorado's in those other two books, that's something different. But in this one, it doesn't mention Colorado. So how can I sit there and say Forrest Fenn has been to Colorado just because he said somewhere in the 4 states there's something? But in here, he tells me specifically which states, which towns. Temple, Texas, for example. There's a lot of Temple, Texas. Obviously, I'm using that example because that's not within the 4 states, but he says Temple, Texas. This is where I've been here in Temple, Texas. So you can obviously circle Temple, Texas. This is a guaranteed spot Forrest Fenn has been because he told me in here. Now, yeah, he may say I went fishing somewhere off blah, 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 but if it's not in here, that doesn't make a difference because it was only designed to be from a story, I would think, from the Thrill of the Chase, to what you're saying.
Well, I don't think a particular city or location can be named in the book in general, like, pop out type of deal. But I think I got a good question I thought of when you were mentioning the map or maps in general. If the map is outside of the book, how we know it's going to be the right map?
Well, that's
What
the
do you
whole
mean?
point though, is that you're, again, where everyone's like kind of diverting into these big, vague, like what he said, he goes, everyone's getting outside the box. And he's like, no,
Yeah,
you got to get back in the box. But remember also his like, well, number one, but one of his most important rules was that of what whoever said imagination is more important than knowledge. And basically what we're doing and what, like Kiwi, what you just did is you said, your knowledge of Temple, Texas being involved in the book is true, but yet knowledge is basically that you're knowing the information, but yet imagination is what do you do with all the information? And so again, it's kind of like everyone knows that Forrest made mistakes in his book. And so that's something to take note of. But like, imagine you're playing hide and seek in your house. You've defined the boundaries. You say, here are the states in which I hit it. So you go,
yeah,
okay, just for the analogy, say, I hit it in, we're going to hide in the house in all 4 sections of the house. Do you think Forrest is going to tell you where he's hiding at all? No. Like, but maybe he did. I'm not going to say he didn't, but when you read the book, you can kind of start seeing like, what you think he, no offense, I'm just saying this from my own personal thing, and you guys are great people. But I go, do you really think he's going to hide it on the Madison under a tree? Do you really think he's going to hide it in Temple, Texas? Do you really think he's going to hide it on his trail where he hiked with Donnie? Like, do you think he's going to actually say, all right, guys, the game's about to start, but before we start, let me tell you a story about this and this and this, but I probably didn't hide there, Like, I'm not in the dryer room, that's for sure. But like, you can't
right.
assume that the knowledge that you have in the book is the correct thing. But what you can say is, well, he did tell us that imagination, he put it in the book, imagination is more important than knowledge. So, and he lived by those rules. And so you kind of got to say, well, we have the knowledge, it's the book. What are you going to do with that knowledge? And that's where I lead in. And I say, I don't know the answer, but what I do know is I took a thorough analysis of that memoir. Every single sentence, every word, every comma, every picture, every page number, the type of paper, the colors. I did a thorough analysis with another person, and there was way more. And that's what I'm trying to tell you guys. And that's why I'm so confused, is everybody studied this memoir over and over, day after day, year after year, and they went with information. That's all they did. They didn't take the book and say, what the, like, why did he title it a memoir? Not like memoir of Forrest Fenn. He said it's a memoir. It's not necessarily his. It's not it's it's some memoir. And so that's where most of this turned for me. And that's where I think most people haven't accepted it yet. And this is kind of, I'm reaching the point where I'm no longer doing the shows with anybody. Kiwi, I like you, man, and I'm not saying but, I like you. That's why I keep coming to you. I can't listen to these people who are so close-minded that they can't imagine. They just keep going with this weird
So
knowledge
you're
that they
going
built and
with
everybody's built. Go ahead.
it's the thrill of the chase, a memoir by Forrest Fenn, not the thrill of the chase, a memoir of Forrest Fenn.
Yeah, if you
Is that what you're
look at
saying?
memoir titles, if you look at memoir titles, and I'm not saying 100%, but when you look at
Right,
memoir
right.
titles,
I
you
see what you're
usually
saying.
tell what the memoir is about. Now, the reason why I said that though, Kiwi, is because it is not his memoir. Now, I get that there's stories like he put
on the bottom it says
I
by
what I know,
Right,
but
right. That's
everybody
what I'm
puts
saying
their
is,
by title.
he, yeah,
I mean, I
I
just
see what
wrote
you're
a book and
saying.
I put my own title.
The
And so
thrill of the
yes,
chase,
there's
a memoir.
but usually you put like a memoir of Forrest Fenn, or
Right,
Forrest Fenn's
right,
memoir of something. But of
right. I
course,
see what you're saying.
everybody puts at the bottom of their book, my book in itself, I said, here's the title, here's the subtitle, and then somewhere on the book, you got to put who it's by. You're not going to just leave nothing on it. And so, but regardless, that's kind of
Right.
regardless of the point, because
No,
what
but
I'm
I see
telling
your,
you
I
guys,
kind of see your point, because you're doing a play on words, and I understand that, and I catch that. I see what you mean by that. And it's right. It's
but
the
okay,
thrill of the
yes,
chase of memoir. So Forrest Fenn wrote down a bunch of memoirs of the thrill
yep,
of chase to him, of what
yes.
life
But now
was to
hold
him.
on right there. Hold on. Check it out, Kiwi.
Okay.
Now check this out, because I'm telling you guys 100% that you will lose a lot of respect for Forrest Fenn if you learn, which I already have, that these stories are not original. Okay. Like, but what I mean that not original, let me say this. There are elements that are true. Okay. I promise you that there's elements that are true,
Right.
but I promise you 100% that there are elements that are not true, because I've already found a book,
Well,
one
yeah, I mean,
single book that has the same stories, 24 of them. And you go through and you go, wait, like I've told everyone a million times, there is a story in the book that I have about a person, about a buffalo who's ripping through a certain area, breaking things and destroying them. And this girl decides, well, she doesn't really know it's coming, what's coming, but the buffalo is, instead of in front of a car, it's chasing her until how did the end, or how did the buffalo story end? They hit a river and the buffalo ran away. Okay, now, and
yeah,
I
the
wouldn't
car
believe it
bottomed
either
out, and the
until I read
back
the
axle
story.
gave out.
Uh-huh. Okay, yeah, and I wouldn't believe that story, because this story said that this girl was running until she hit the river, and then once she crossed the river, the buffalo could no longer chase her. And so I'm like, okay, that's one little story, right? But then you
Right.
find out that the postmark dates are in the story, and then I go to the next story, and sure enough, it's about a guy named Mr. Incognito. Okay, now Mr. Incognito is a gentleman who lives, he's missing something, and so he decides to travel somewhere. That somewhere just happens to be a place that is all male or predominantly male, and they use the form of saltpeter, which is the same, it's the metal elements that create it, and they call it an anti-aphrodisiac. Now, that goes along with the fact that this gentleman posed as someone else for 4 days until he got caught, and so on and so forth. So what a lot of people don't realize is that they go, I'm going to focus so hard on this memoir. It's so true. I'm going to think of every word and every meaning. But what if I told you there's a whole nother book that you could read that helps clarify it, from Christianity
Well,
to the
then
story about Lucifer?
Do you think it
Well,
was found in Wyoming?
I would say two
No,
things.
in fact,
I would say two
we all
things.
know it wasn't.
One,
That it's not been found in Wyoming.
hold
Well,
on.
it could be. That's the thing, is I have a puzzle piece. I don't know the whole story. I
You
have a
call-
piece that you guys, every person needs to
I
study it, and
swear
I'm
this
bailing
shirt
out.
makes
But
me look
no,
really,
I don't
really
know.
fat. And I'm sorry, people. I am not really, really fat. The train is still moving. On the other hand,
Go
is
ahead, Rob.
is that
I'm just saying.
that would be your
Kiwi, yeah.
perception, you know?
You
Go
call
ahead.
the guy a liar.
Well, no,
that-
but what if it's factual? What if it's
Well,
factual?
no.
How would you?
Is
How?
no,
Yeah.
no. Your perception is that yes, there's factually another book that's written similar to The Thrill of the Chase. Yes, okay, that's great and all.
Mhm.
Now it's your perception on how that may or may not relate to The Thrill of the Chase.
Yes.
That's your perception.
Yes.
Nobody can knock it.
Yes.
Nobody. That's your belief and your feelings.
Agreed.
That's awesome. And
Mhm.
I would be like, all right, cool. You know, I mean, I might check it out. You know, other than that, I would have to be like,
Huh?
maybe he read the book, maybe he didn't, maybe he got an idea or two, maybe he didn't. I don't know. But I mean, writers who read
Okay.
other writers tend to emulate or duplicate in some way, shape, or form because they like that
Yeah.
type of writing style and stuff.
Agreed.
I mean, So I mean, that's how I would
Okay,
say.
I
that.
agree, and that's where I
Yeah.
went too. Okay, now
Well,
let me go one step farther because I
Oh,
believe the
one more
same
thing
thing.
is
I said,
somebody
I go,
is
well,
keeps asking
yeah,
in chat about whether or not I guess you or somebody else in the room about your thoughts on whether or not the chest was found in Wyoming or not or something like that. Your all's thoughts. Was the chest found in
I mean,
Wyoming,
my
Montana,
my per
Colorado? Each of you, what
I
do you
mean,
think? Where was it found?
I think everybody's heard everyone's opinion yet, haven't we? Like we all know I mean, I'm sure I could say maybe half the people's opinions because it's all been said before. Everyone keeps saying the same thing. And that's what I'm trying to do is
Yeah,
I do
no,
not
but
believe
Or
stuff,
facts.
but yes, it could be.
then what's my
It
opinion,
could
Chief?
be in
so
Wyoming.
there's a could be. What about
No,
you?
that's well, hold on, Chief. Hold on, Chief. I said that not everybody. See, that's why people don't listen. They're more into like developing what's going to come out of their mouth, so they don't listen. And so what I'm telling you guys, I've listened for 8 years, and
Right?
poor Street, he had to listen to me for an hour. I've listened to his ass for years or whatever it's been. It's like, come on, guys. If you want to
Right.
know something more, you got to listen. You can't just keep talking and talking about the
It
same
is a
stuff.
show, but
You know?
it's
Right.
So I totally agree with you. You're Chief, right?
No, I'm the guy that knows no facts because that's according to
Is
Street.
Ian?
But weren't you on Street
I'm
Channel one night
Ian.
as Chief?
no.
No?
I tried to go on and chat with
Chief
him,
is
but he
in the
just
big one.
started cussing and swearing.
Huh.
Chief is
I
in the
thought you
big
were
one.
Chief. But
But
anyway, that's
anyway,
beside the point. I just want to have a proper question to you real quick because I'm curious. I totally love
yeah.
your proposition and your thoughts and ideas. From everything I'm listening to, it's great. But there is one thing that you and a lot of people are missing. There are a lot. There can be as many as possibilities out there
Oh,
that seem to connect. But what a lot of people are disregarding is the fact that Forrest Fenn said, and I quote, and it's the same quote that I've been quoting for a while: "All you need is a thrill of chase, a good map, and a good knowledge of geography." With that being
right.
said, cool, yeah, sure, yeah, you can have all the outside knowledge of books and stuff, but that's just totally disregarding that what Forrest Fenn said of all you would need is a thrill of chase and the poem.
But
Because
it's
that's what
not.
the poem
That's
wrote.
exactly wrong,
No,
though, is it's not
we're
disregarding it.
How
No.
is it
In
wrong
fact,
then? Because it's
how
Forrest,
we're
those
okay,
are
so
talking
Forrest Fenn's
about it.
words. Those are
well
Forrest
that's
Fenn's
I'm
own
trying to
words. He
tell you right
disregarded all
now.
that.
Is this Luke? Or who, I
Yes, this
remember
is.
that voice. Is it dude, I know I like you, dude. I always watch it. Hey, here's the thing. What you guys, a lot of people go, oh hey Ian, well that's specialized knowledge. And it's like of specialized knowledge, you gotta think of what that means. He's telling you you have to have a broad knowledge. You don't need to zone in on like cubic inches and the elemental
No,
chart. It's
I totally
Right.
agree with
what
you.
you're trying to
Right.
I'm
do is
totally
you read
agreeing with
the
you, but
memoir.
you're
It's
saying
all in the
that
memoir.
then now you're saying, and I totally get it, I'm agreeing with you, but you're also saying that you also need extra knowledge outside of thrill of chase when all he said is all you need
Do you
is a thrill of
remember?
chase,
Yeah.
my book,
No, do you
and a
remember when
poem.
Forrest Fenn also said that you're going to find what's called the catalyst and it will project you to find the treasure and based through almost academia? He said it would be academics. So there's a lot of stuff, but let me
I
tell you how it doesn't require specialized knowledge. And I'm going to answer your
don't remember
question right
that
here,
quote.
if you give me a second. Okay, now I went through the search just like everybody, especially Troy. I took the poem for 1.5 years solid. And I just looked at it. I thought, I don't need this memoir. I'll find the treasure. For 1.5 years, I studied it. I quit my job because I didn't really need it at that point, but I studied. Then I got the book
Just the poem of the
and
book.
I had just the poem for 1.5 years. And I thought, just like most people, this
Damn,
is
and you
the
quit your
answer.
job and everything.
Well, sort of. It's like I had a weird job, but at the
Right.
time I focused and I got my partner and I focused, but I got the memoir next. And so I said, all right, for 2 years, I studied both the memoir and the poem. Now,
Uh-huh.
that studying, this is what's going to answer your question, is I used the memoir to find locations on a map, or as Forrest put it, marry it to the map. And
Right.
based off those findings, I found one book. Now, I want you to think for a minute. And a lot of people can't conceptualize this. So Fenn put it in one of his things. The odds and probability of things happening can define stuff. They can define everything. That's what science is on. You present a verbal theory and you find
Right.
data in the real world to back it up. Now, how is
Right.
it possible that after 3 years of studying just the memoir, I ended up at one specific library where I found one specific book? Now, the odds of that are probably billions,
Well, I
but you
mean,
can't do that.
it
Yeah.
only takes
But everyone
one.
keeps starting it.
It only takes one interpretation of one word to change your direction and your path into a different way than somebody else, and that goes for everybody.
Okay.
And I
Okay.
and
Now,
I
yeah.
and I mean it
Go ahead.
in a sincere fact. For I mean, when I say that words matter and stuff, and that our time and our actions with people, I mean, they make a difference. They truly do. And also, just simple words. Like I said, I can tell
I
you earbud, but
agree.
earbud would be earbud. But you might have read something or seen something that's one thing that changed your direction path and led you towards one way. You know what I mean? It Rob's something that he read and seen or saw. It told him and it drew him a different way.
Yep.
And even though
Well,
everybody
so
has the
how
same
would you
book,
ever determine it? How would you
what do
ever
you mean?
determine what's real? And well, that's what I'm
Oh,
getting at is
that comes down to each
there's one
individual's own
answer.
perception. Yeah.
Well, I know what I'm saying is how would Forrest Fenn have how would he be able to prove it? And everyone keeps saying this poem, and you're like, no, there
Yeah.
is something out there, in which he also mentioned
That's neat.
2 individual nuggets. He says, oh yeah, there's 2 nuggets. Whoever finds it will clearly know based off those 2 nuggets. Now, he said that in one of the recent things even that's been brought up. But again,
See,
I
that
never even
makes
told
sense
you
too,
guys.
you know?
Okay, now on that note, the 2 nuggets. Now, how is it possible that the book that I have is 100% based on the fact that the largest piece of gold in Colorado lost 2 nuggets, and both nuggets are still missing to this day, yet the large nugget is found in Denver Museum of Natural History. Now, again, that's just another thought, but to go back a second more, a lot of people think I'm interpreting these books. There's no interpretation. What I found is actual verbiage, like written words and page numbers. I want you to think of the odds on this again. And it's just odds. You guys can all disagree if you want, but that's for you guys to sleep at night. How is it that the book I found has the exact same info on the exact same page number? Now think of how many, there's like millions of books written every year. Try to find 2 books with entirely different subject matter, entirely, that have the same info on not only 1, but about 3 different pages. And then it leads you to wonder, I get it. You know, like we were saying, Kiwi, a lot of people use inspiration, but that's inspiration. Why would you locate certain information on certain pages? And this is where I basically give up on listening to everyone, is because nobody listens to what I'm saying. It's like the odds of what I'm saying are way better than like, well, he likes fly fishing. And no offense to whoever thinks that, but like he liked fly fishing. So, and he mentions Madison, it's got to be there. You don't think like thousands of people search there? I just
Oh
have
no,
a piece of
I
the
told you the
puzzle.
same thing. I told you the same thing. I don't believe in the Madison River, Madison Junction bullshit. I've
And
stated this multiple times.
and
But
it
like,
goes
Yeah, but
again
like
down
page
to
numbers,
this
think of
is
the page numbers. So that's a
but
factual quantitative thing. It's not
you could
me
also
giving a perception. You can look at page 130 in 2 different books. In fact, if you guys can find that, 2 different subject matters, 2 different authors, 2 different entire time eras, and find 2 pages, I'll give you $100. And that's my word. If you can do that. Now you have to be able to prove it. And so what I've done is I've built this proof for 8 years. Now the hunt's over. I don't care about the hunt or the gold. What I want to do is give you guys what I know, and then everyone else can run away with it. But for you guys to continue to just beat the same horse, it's like, I get why everyone's saying the same. They're like, yeah, there's nothing to talk about. Of course not. Because you all, or whoever's listening or whoever will listen, everyone's just talking about the same crap, you know? And I get it. They're all deep meanings, they're great stories. But like, what I'm saying is, once you realize that a lot of people perceive the book as one thing, what I found, if you put it together, recreates the meaning. It defines it. It says, this treasure hunt is real. Everything's real. Because there's another book right here next to me that has same info, same stories. It's even about a missing treasure and the page numbers match. And so soon you go, holy crap, he wrote a story about himself, but he he personified a specific town, which is exactly what we needed. And then one book had all the matchups that would answer your question. It was the catalyst. Okay, that's the whole deal, is once you found the catalyst, I'm saying this from myself, once you find the catalyst, the rest is academic, and it's not specialized knowledge. I've found that book without specialized knowledge. There's no specialized knowledge that I even know. I'm an idiot. But what I did is I studied the memoir, like Kiwi says. I studied every word. I followed the words, not the images of like, well, fly fishing in Madison. I took Eisenhower. I took the names Ford. You take all the nouns out and it all makes sense. But you have to use the words in the book. You can't just, back in a fishing log.
I used everything.
Like Cynthia.
I mean,
those guys are idiots. Well, yeah, I used everything too, with
because it's important.
Okay, how about this? Here's another proof. Because I know Street wants proof and facts. How is it that
I don't know about that.
book,
I mean, I'm just here to enjoy life and have a good time and conversate with people about life, especially life, you know. And I use a little Forrest Fenn to get into it because everybody likes Forrest Fenn. And if not, then I still got people that don't like Forrest Fenn. So.
This should blow your mind, because this is what blew my mind. This is where I finally was able to say I agreed with Jack. Group thought is horrible. It's just the most horrible thing. And I used to, and I believe in that, because this is something where nobody believes me. Nobody even cares. And so, but how is it that there's an article in history that's dated, like say September 2nd? If you go look at the date September 2nd on this article in history, it's located with Forrest Fenn's memoir, you will see that there is an article below it. That article resembles Fenn's story. And not only resembles the story, it has the same date, September 2nd. Okay. I mean, there's 100 things of proof that I could offer, but I'm like trying to blaze through this bulletproof wall, it seems, or through people who are ignorant and who just can't accept that they aren't right.
So
and I'm not saying I'm right, but I'm saying I'm right with one piece of the puzzle.
So I guess like the ultimate question, I guess, in a sense, would be, obviously you have your beliefs and your thoughts. Nobody can deny it. And you have the ability to create your videos and stuff like that, which I'm sure you have, right? And if not,
I created two that summed it up.
Huh?
I created two that summed it up, and most people don't watch.
But that's okay. But the whole point is you got your idea out there. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
what does? I guess the question is to you. And this would have to be a personal question, and not one you have to answer. I mean, this is something I ask myself, and especially
drop it on me. Yep.
My channel and the direction it goes is, what is it to you that you believe so much that you're trying to get others to listen to you in such a way. And it's not necessarily
Huge.
what you say, but how you say it. And I'm not saying you're saying anything bad or good or anything.
No,
These
no,
are
for sure.
just things I talk to myself so
No,
that,
yeah.
I learn in life how can I make my channel more appeasing, because I want more people to watch it, not just, you know, Tom, Dick, and
Yes.
Jane. You know what I mean? I'm not saying I just have Tom, Dick, and Jane in here, though. If I do, Tom, Dick, and Jane, thanks for stopping by. I appreciate you stopping by. But it's Forrest Fenn is what I learned in parenting class is an icebreaker, just like Kiwi is an icebreaker. Now, the thrill of the chase is an icebreaker. We all can now conversate with anybody in the world and be like, yes, I was part of the thrill of the chase. I got so and so, and it was so and so. So that's a story, an icebreaker that you as a person and other people on the channel or even in the chat can sit there and share. And they're awesome stories, and I think it's an awesome thing to have. And whether or not people believe us or not, and whether people believe what I think or what you think, that's neither here or there. But we believe it ourselves enough that we can come across and say it in a way, in such a way that it's why I've learned to. Obviously, there's a saying: you can't bring a fool to school, and you can't make them think. You can't bring a horse to water, you can't make them drink. You know, you can't force people to eat something they don't want to eat. And so,
Yeah.
all I can do is it's not what I say, but how I say it. If I can say it in a way that people want to believe it, that they feel something, then I've succeeded. But I can sit there and say the same thing all day long, and if nobody's feeling something and nobody's thinking anything, they're all just going to drift away. And it's like, that's like one of the reasons, like the whole purpose of Talking Tuesdays is Forrest Fenn is an icebreaker now that I can use him to open up myself in my life and share things and hopefully bring people along so that they would open up and share things that wouldn't just help me to be a better person, whether in my relationship with my wife or my kids or friends or families, YouTubers, whoever, strangers, but it might help somebody else out down the road. So I'm trying to do a win-win situation. You know what I mean? And so it's like, overall, it's not necessarily how you see yourself in the thrill of the chase, but rather I'm looking for how you're going beyond the thrill of the chase in your own lives. Tyler's, Rob's, Ian. I mean, people in chat is, you believed in this so much. Is there something else that you believe in so much, or that it ties in, that it's doing something positive for you? I mean, it sucks that you lost your job. I mean, trying to figure something out, you know what I mean? That's a downside.
Well, it gave
But
it
I'm
up.
sure there's a positive side to it, you know what I mean? You probably got a better job or something. I don't know. I mean, or at least maybe you enjoyed the free time off. I mean, but it's so, in a sense, it's like to each their own, but not in a mean way. I don't mean it in a mean way, but I love listening to the stories and stuff. And I'm not trying to stop you from still continuing, because I'm still listening to what you're saying. Because obviously, the main point that I've heard so far, just to sum it up, is you've done a lot of research, whether just the poem, not the poem, the book, the poem. You come across a book, and the book seems like it's the same as the poem, and it sounds like it's an awesome thing to check out. You know what I mean?
Oh,
And then we move on from there to, how else has the thrill of the chase helped you evolve, versus whether or not what you're doing is going to help other people evolve. You know what I mean? Does that make sense or no? Or am I just ruining
yeah.
it? Should I shut up?
No,
Should
no,
I shut
and
up?
no, and that's no. My point's that I agree. I'm a lover, and so I know
Right?
that this is what I started with, was this love for the hunt and Forrest Fenn. But then I learned about the people in the hunt. I learned that people died. I learned that there's people
Yeah.
that are having troubles mentally. I heard that
Yep.
people like lost their jobs. Mine, I think it was misunderstood. I chose and
Right.
continue to work, but the whole point's that I get frustrated because it's like a person knocking at a door because they're hungry and they're looking for food. And then the door
Right.
cracks and they look inside and there's people just whipping food all over the place. And they're like, yeah, what's up? Well, we can't let you in. Door shuts. You go again, you're looking for food and you're kind of like knock, knock, knock. And soon you're like, you guys are wasting food. I need it. You feel like you want to kick that door in and just grab
Right.
food that's on the floor. And so
No,
like, I guess what
I
I've
totally-
reached is this point where I've heard everybody so long and I've tried to interject and politely just be like, hey guys, have you ever thought of this? And it's like, no, forget it. And then everyone kind of goes their selfish way. And I go, this
Right.
is something that
Well,
everybody needs to know, not just me. I mean, I gave up on it. I already know it, but everybody needs to know it so that they can, like a few people, if this was something that could somehow be promoted or thought about, I bet you there's people up there that would be at peace. They would give up. They would find a whole new light. Like my goal, I guess, in the ending of this
So
is that I feel like people need to know this info before I bail out because I
no, for
can't
sure.
keep knocking on the door.
Here's the problem with
You know?
all of that, brother, and I totally get it because I'm in the same boat. I was in the same boat as you before I went MIA from the chase. I was trying to do the same thing you're doing right currently, and still trying to do, was trying to convince people that my side was right, and just for the sake of closure. But here's the problem, and it all comes down to two words that Jack Stu couldn't have said any better than me, myself, and I. The problem with trying to convince people is exactly what Kiwi said. Everyone is stuck in their own solve, coming down to confirmation bias. Confirmation bias is a complete bitch, brother. And that is why nobody will be convinced because, yeah, they all want answers, but they're all stuck in their own ways of what the answers might be perceived as. And that's the major problem with all of this shit.
See, but I'm not saying that this is a solution. That's where my girlfriend keeps telling me, Ian, you got to. This has nothing to do with a solution. What I'm telling you guys is,
agreed.
and most everybody, is that there's a lot of misunderstanding here. Assume, since nobody knows me, assume that I have degrees in studying books and history and
No, I never said you had to do
languages
that at all.
and. Well, no, I'm just saying this has nothing to do with a solution, and I hate when people
No,
think that
no,
because
no.
there is no
I never said solution. What I'm
verifiable
trying to say,
solution.
what I was trying to say is, you can show all the evidence and anything and everything, but the chase community will not believe it because they're stuck in what they think is right.
Yeah.
I had nothing. I was not even speaking on behalf of the solutions at all. Now, me, yeah, I was
And it's
on my end. I was trying to mention those solutions, but you, no. But yeah, you're trying to get people to understand your information of what you think could be correct. Sure, if it's correct, thing, they're gonna say come back to you and be like, yeah, you were correct. We're sorry, and yada yada yada. And that's that. But all you can do right
I know,
now,
and I
my guy,
feel like shouldn't
is
I
just
have
enjoy
just as
your
much
life.
or
It's the
just as
same
much
thing I told
leeway?
the kid to everybody. The same thing I told her. Just enjoy your life. Get away from this chase community. Yeah, you can chat and here and there with the people. Like right now, I'm doing with Kiwi and y'all. I mean, I kind of stepped away because I needed to, because I need to work on me, myself, and I, because I was going through mental health issues. And I mean, I still deal with it every now and then, but I'm enjoying life to the fullest right now. Like, I mean, I lost one of my flies that I made handmade, but you know, at the end of the day, it's gone, and I'm still enjoying my life and fly fishing, going outside and doing what Forrest Fenn wanted all of us to do. Go outside, do what Kiwi's doing right now, and I couldn't be more proud of him for doing and carry on the legacy that Forrest Fenn wanted all of us to do. Get outside in the sunshine and enjoy nature. That is the compound pieces of all
sunshine,
of this
sunshine.
breakdown
Did you
shit.
not hear me earlier?
No, I say see
It's
it.
raining cats and dogs out here.
But even still, you're nearby to it. You know what I'm saying? That's my whole point here. You're nearby to it, at least somewhat nearby to it. Where others would just stay in this shelter and just whine and cry about anything and everything. Enjoy your life. It's too short to be whining and crying and being upset at life in general. This is the key thing.
Yes, that's what I'm trying to help with, is to get people
Here's one of the
to
things.
divert a little.
But you can't.
Easier
You can't. People have to
said.
want it for themselves, brother. If they don't want it for themselves, you can't
I
convince them of
know.
it.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm trying
Easier
to say.
Like an
said.
evangelical.
Easier said than
Mhm.
done.
It's true.
And it took
Yep.
me 5 to 7 years. Just I had to have my own inflection point before I started to really understand and realize the concept of life. So I mean, I'm still learning. I'm always a learner, still learner, always will be a learner, you know. And I'm just hoping other people can teach me so that through me other people can learn. But I mean, my life by no means is gravy train or anything like
No,
that. A
no
lot
life
of
is
people
great.
can't afford to, and a lot of people they can't afford to have the nature around them, you know.
Agreed, yeah. Or at
And
least
it's
go. Yeah. No, agreed. I
but
really think.
one of the things though is everybody does have a brain, you know, and it's hard to connect with yourself, let alone with others. And if you can learn to connect with yourself, then connecting with others just becomes a little bit easier.
Here. Yep.
Yeah, nice woodpecker over there too. But yeah, what else are we talking about?
I have no idea.
Yeah, me neither.
Well,
Is it
I'll
raining?
probably
The
bail
boots are
out.
all wet.
I appreciate it. Again, Kiwi, you got a good
Hey,
attitude. I like your heart, man. I've listened to you just to also even see where you're sitting at, because I love those trees. Over here, it's just pine trees. There's no smells. It's like pine trees, snow, and dirt. And so, man, it looks nice where you're at. I feel like I want to go outside there and just wander through and look for like morel mushrooms or something.
There you go. That's what it's
well,
all about.
then
Just go
there you
enjoy it
go.
like
Go
that.
get them morel mushrooms because I ain't gonna eat them. They ain't the right kind of mushroom for me.
Go get high on shrooms.
But before you do go, I mean, have you thought of, or maybe just make a quick video showing that book that you got connected to and how you think it
Yeah,
might
James.
help other people in their own personal lives,
Yeah.
and throw that on your channel.
Uh,
And
Yeah, I'm gonna take your example actually. I feel see the yeah, I'm gonna kind of do the same thing where, I made some videos that were I just made 2 videos that I worked on for years, but what I've decided to do is just document this because there there's more to it than what I'm able to tell you.
right,
There's way more to it, and it's not just perception, it's more just like it's just a bunch of facts that people might not know. Like the idea that Fenn drove 50 miles out of the way to go see that sign in Wyoming
right.
between Shoshone, whatever. It's like, well,
Well,
people
his
need to know that
father,
that's not in Wyoming.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, but people need to know that's not in Wyoming. They need to know that that's actually at the University of Northern Colorado, and it's been there since like early 1900s. So it's like it's that, or the fact that he misspoke about Hemingway but for a reason, or there's a lot of facts that people don't know because, like I
right.
said, and I'm not insulting, it's because they're ignorant. They get info, they don't want to
And
take it, and so
I can
I'm gonna
get
put it
ignorant.
out there. Me too, if I want to be, yeah. But yeah, I'm gonna do the same. I think
But
come
listen,
June. Yeah.
at the very least, as you do this, keep in mind that you're not doing it for anybody else, but for your own
Yourself.
satisfaction. That the
Yep.
And
video,
yeah.
when you're done watching it, it pleases you. Just like the Thrill the Chase, when Forrest Fenn was done writing the book, it pleased him. And then,
Yep.
if it's good enough for you, then it should be
That's
good
good enough
enough
for
for
him.
everybody else. And
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Exactly.
And at the very least, you've
Yep.
made
And that's
something that you're
it.
happy with.
Hence, I'll call it a
But yeah, I
journal.
appreciate you coming on and
It'll
talking.
be the
Yeah,
same.
call it a
Yeah,
journal.
man. Hey, and I love the attitude again. I hope that attitude is just always in these films or in the shows, because that's part of the reason why I enjoy listening is that you seem to be very, you got your heart on your sleeve. Uh, I like that part for sure, but it just seems like you're a person that people could talk to. You're delightful to listen to. Unlike a lot of other people, you seem to control what you say, how you say it. You're not offensive. These are all reasons why I think you should continue as well. And that's why I go to you, man. just even the other day, I
Appreciate
deleted
that.
all those guys. I kept Troy because he threw out a compliment. Street's gone. I haven't heard much from that guy. That's worth even digesting mentally anymore. A lot of these
Well, I
guys.
mean, that's between you and,
Great.
and your choices. You know what I mean? I try
Yeah,
to. I like
Yeah,
them
and
all,
yeah,
and I like them all for their own reasons. I mean, there's channels out there that do and say their own things. That's them. I mean, that's them. I take everybody for who they are and what they do, and that's why I call it the chase marketplaces, just because of that. You never know what you're gonna get down an aisle. One day you go down an aisle and you like everything, and next day you go down, somebody peed on something, and it's hey, that's life. You come back to that aisle. Hopefully that aisle has been cleaned up, and hopefully you weren't the one going around peeing. You know what I mean? Because and
uh,
it's just I find it fascinating and interesting, and that's why I resorted to Survivor. And everybody is who they are, and hopefully they would portray themselves the way that they would want to be received. You know what I mean?
yeah.
And I have yet to have any beef with anybody out there, and I hope I don't have any. Everybody invites me on. People, they accept my invite. They let me on their channels, and I try to bring this there. And I know that when on the channels I go on, I've so far have had pleasant uh, correspondences between all of them. I mean, all of them: Troy's, Streets, K Pros, Indies. Um, Not too
it's
many
because
other
you're so nice.
you know.
See, it's because you're nice, man. That's the whole point. I think they all love you too, man. I think that's the deal. Is I agree, and I should apologize just for getting so aggro. But man,
It's all
it's
good.
one of those things I hate. I just hate watching people
We all have
kind of
thoughts
do
and
their thing
emotions.
in a weird way,
So
and I'm like, yeah. But I'll let you guys go. Most people, if there's anyone in there that like cares kind of or is interested in what I'm saying, just my name is out there. I'm very transparent, and you can watch the videos, and if you have questions or comments, that's the spot to do it. So I'm not gonna like
yeah.
drop an email online or anything, but I think from here on out, I'll probably just kind of listen to your guys' shows and more so just kind
Well,
of see what's going on.
don't forget to make like a short little video or something about that book that you're referencing. So that I can at least check it
Oh
out
yeah, no,
later
the
on down the road.
videos are
You know
out
what I
there.
mean?
That Yeah, the
Also,
videos are out there.
yeah,
I've
check
put
them out.
Yeah, just go look up Ian Learfallum. It's not, I mean, it's Leirfallom, but you can see the videos. They talk about the book. They talk about a couple, like maybe two out of hundreds of facts, things that match up that should be known, because it will change your perception of the story. And just kind of, if you have comments or whatever, do it. What I'm gonna do though for the future, and I think it's similar to you, is I'm gonna I have a crew that's gonna put together a little bit of a production for more of like a journal where we're just gonna go through and take a section at a time and talk about it. Because like I said, most people think, for example, like fly water means something and they base it off
Right.
their understanding of the book. But when you take
Right.
two stories next to each other, you can say, well, here's another opportunity for you to understand Fenn better. It's kind of like giving an analogy. So Fenn may give you fly water, but then on the story that matches it, you find out it's not about eternal life or whatever Matt Sunshine says. It's about a love story. And you only know that because the date's on the top, July 23rd, 1942. And then there's clearly a story with the same notes. Like, I went back to this place and I did this thing and then I went fishing, but the stories are the same. And you're kind of like, oh, I get it. So that story was about love. Then you go to the next one. You're like, oh, I get that this story is about this. And soon you go, I can't listen to anyone because they haven't done that. And so that's where that ignorance comes in. You go, it's hard to listen to the people anymore unless they do the research or any kind of research, or unless they're able to kind of use their ears and listen more versus like you telling people. And so that's this
Right.
this June show should be more about that. It's gonna be about, here's a bunch of facts, here's a bunch of stuff. I'm gonna go out happy, like you said, and I hope it helps other people. You know?
I
And
look
plus,
forward to it.
just to let you guys know, the last cool fact about this is that both books have 24 chapters, and
Huh.
I was just messing around with it, but like when you line the chapters up like on a piece of paper, you just write every chapter in a column, and then you take the next book, write every chapter in a column, then you take the poem and write it next to it. They all match up. Like Fenn had a way in his house
That's
of like
interesting.
building his book. Yeah, and each one, like for example, the last chapter about what people are like, I give you title to the gold, and they'll come up with anything, right? They have no clue what it means, right? But then when you line them up, you read the chapters and you go, wait, this chapter in this other book is about how John Carter gave title of all his gold and stuff to the Denver Museum of Natural History. And so you kind of go with that, and then you go to the next chapter and you're like, where warm waters halt, and you line it up, and all of a sudden you're like, well, wait, there's the answer for warm waters halt. And then heavy loads and water high. And so what I'm trying to tell everyone is, again, there's like a million perceptions unless you listen to what Fenn was trying to tell you. And if Fenn thought it was important to use this book to mimic, y'all should read it and stop being ignorant and say, this is info that I should just read. It might take you a month. It took me like a month to read it. Then I had to read it and read it and read it. And it takes
If there's a
forever.
movie
It's
about
hard
that book,
work.
I'll watch it. I'll watch a movie. I'm
You're
not much
you're
of a
gonna
reader.
get one soon. Well, hey, watch my videos because they're gonna lead into something. Someone's gonna grab this somewhere. Of course it's like a dream, but yeah, you could watch a movie, dude. I
Right?
love movies. That's what I'm trying to do, is make it easier for people to understand it, because
Right.
it's really cool. I mean, Forrest was the OG of Top Gun, of outdoormanship. I mean, the guy, I think he's up there turning in his grave because he's pissed it all turned out like this. But yeah, there's all these matchups that people don't really get. And, there's not like in Forrest's mind, there was a meaning for, if you're wise and found the blaze. I don't get how, in the book, there's a wise mountain, and then at the bottom of the hill, there's a blaze, there's a fire, like an old ancient pit. And like, there's all these things that people really don't know, but I'm trying to get to them. So anyways, I appreciate you letting me have the time to talk. And if people want to get
No
it and
worries.
check it out, do it. Quit wasting time, guys. Start doing something new. Start like learning, no moment in thought is wasted. Take it from Forrest Fenn. Start checking things out more than just listening to the shows that just admit. I mean, they admit we have nothing to talk about. It's like, well, I guess the social reasons I love, James. But like, if you're trying to learn, trying to progress with information, you should probably do a little research. And it's hard work. That's what I got to tell people. It's like, it's hard work. You don't, like Fenn says, it's not impossible, but it's damn hard. Like, you're not going to get this overnight. Read a book that's like a textbook. But once you do, it all makes sense. That's the weird part. Enough to where I'm happy, but yet I want to get you guys there. That's it.
No worries.
I prefer a guy with no facts than over a guy who pulls facts out of his butt,
Oh,
How you doing, Bill?
Bill Gorman. Dude, I love you. See,
I
watch you all the
the
time,
man.
Bill. Yeah.
Well, before I head out, because I got to start getting ready for it, because I got to be there at 5 o'clock, so I'm gonna start getting ready for work at least. I want to say a few things. One, obviously, to no facts, real quick. It's better to wear your emotions on your sleeve than to not wear your emotions on your sleeve. So for that, I applaud you, brother, because
Yeah.
it shows you care about the community, which I'm the same way. I'm the same way, and I was the same way before I left. I wanted to, show that I care and give closure to people. So for that, I applaud you and thank you, brother. And then to my brother,
Hey, you too. Hey,
for my brother Kiwi, I got something for you because I thought about when you said you learn lessons in life. I got one quote that I've had for a while now. You live and you learn and you laugh and you love. And with that, I'm gonna head on out. Later, peace. Later, people, brothers, peeps.
Joy.
yeah, later.
Enjoy the
Tyler,
rest of your day,
Kiwi
Tyler.
and all.
You
I'm
too.
out too.
Tyler.
I'm gonna
All
listen
right, you
in. I'm
enjoy
gonna
the
be
rest of
out.
your day too, Ian. And I'm not sure if
Thank you,
Big
buddy.
Ron's still in here, if he's still in here. Now we got you, Bill. How's your day going? What's the weather like over there? It's raining out here.
thunder boomers and clouds and generator and when there's clouds you don't get solar power.
Nope.
Yeah,
So you're getting thunderstorm then?
yeah, it was booming 20 minutes ago.
Ah, it should have came
Yeah.
on 20 minutes ago. I would have liked to have heard it.
I was
I missed the
sleep.
thunderstorms.
I gotta
Oh, you're
have my
sleeping?
I was having get my beauty sleep. Yeah.
Well, look what it's done. It's made you look beautiful.
Yeah, I still got that mask on.
Where'd you pick that up at?
It was eBay,
Yeah?
$8.
I mean, it kind of fits you. I don't know why, but it just kind of fits you. It's like almost perfect.
Well,
At least now.
I was trying to give David Paisano an idea instead of pointing the camera at his freaking ceiling.
Oh, he's got it at his hat.
Well, yeah, but he's still afraid to show his face.
That's all right. Every time he comes on, I like to watch him because I sit there and I try to count the weaves, and then he moves his hat. It's like, oh my God, I got to start all over again.
I wonder if he runs from his own shadow.
I don't know. That would be a question between you and him. He seems like a real nice guy. He's a farmer, it sounds like. So, I mean, farming ain't easy. That's for sure. Well, that's another job that people take for granted. It's like they're going to think, just like Forrest Fenn said in The Thrill of the Chase, towards the back of the book, people are going to be using supplement pills like that, fruit of nature, whatever that's out there. Get your vitamins.
One of the side effects of living in Kansas, it flattens your imagination.
That would make sense.
I think those potatoes do something for you. You live in Spud country.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Spud country here too. That's the potato trucks everywhere here. It is a big potato valley.
I'm living in the eastern side of America now for a while, for a few months. Oh, I better pull that thing out of the rain. Found my dad's castle sitting over there in the rain. But yeah. What are your thoughts on time? Forrest Fenn and time?
Well, you notice that, like, even the TV show I'm on, I thought, it said it was going to be May 31st. Now it's June 10th. The people producing Hollywood content and stuff, time doesn't matter to them. It's coming out someday. Like Indiana Jones movie was supposed to come out like 4 years ago. It's finally coming out. And I saw some of the reviews and they
When's
said
that supposed to come out?
Near the second half of June or something. But they've already had the premiere with the stars and stuff, and critics have seen it, and it's said to be very woke.
What's the title of it?
The Dial of Destiny, and it has apparently new previews. Everybody's who stole the treasure? Who stole? There's all these people accused of stealing the treasure.
Wow.
It has some parallels with Forrest Fenn, even though it is said to be a woke movie.
That's funny. Well, I look forward to watching it.
Yeah, I'm gonna probably be the first movie I see in a while. Last time I went to the theater was when Interstellar came out.
We're supposed to go watch Galaxies of the Guardians 3, but we haven't made it out there yet. Yeah.
My new glasses too.
Nice. Nice.
But I could wear this with sunglasses, whatever.
Oh, and then self-shading ones.
Yeah, these turn dark out in the sun.
Nice. Yeah, I got me a pair of them. I don't wear them though. I don't think I look good in glasses. But that's just me.
I like to see where I'm going, and I like to be able to read the labels and read books, read things, and you gotta have glasses for reading. I had LASIK for distance. It came out 2025 in both eyes.
Oh, nice.
2015, or it was 2025.
And you're back. So wait a minute, you had LASIK and now you're back to wearing glasses again?
I had it for distance. I didn't have it for reading.
Oh, okay.
So I need reading glasses. The distance doesn't, it is a very light distance prescription. Because they go, your number's negative. It's like, yeah, because I already, my distance was, I could see galaxies with my naked eye.
That's cool.
Like the Andromeda Galaxy and little star clusters that most people can't see. Because I could see at 20 feet what people would see 25 or I could say things 25 feet away like they were 20 feet away. Something like that. Yeah. 20, 25, something like that. Both eyes.
Nice. So I'm going to have to cut this short actually, because I didn't realize that it's already 3:30. I need to start getting ready for lunch with the parents. So
I think that's what Lorena told John. Just before she cut him.
I've got one moderator in my channel. Now, hopefully, I don't regret this, but so far I'm seeing like a bunch of gray out stuff on the screen, which don't look too good. But anyway, I appreciate you stopping by, Bill, and everybody else that did. UK Paul, I thank you for I guess being the first moderator and the only moderator for now, unless you get kicked off being a moderator for kicking everybody else off the chat.
I just shortened his name up. I just call him PP now.
It's okay. Bill don't have to take off the mask because this show's going down in like a ball of fire on a Sunday afternoon into the lava beds.
Speaking of taking shows down, Street removed all of his live streams.
Oh, really? Why? No.
The Phantom probably. He got scared.
No, I don't think so. He knows what he's doing.
But
anyway,
don't carry a big stick unless you're ready to use it.
Right? But anyway, I'm heading out of here. I appreciate everybody stopping by and chat. Thank you. Again, Bill, thank you. But I'm gonna have to jet out of here so I can go get something to eat. And Bill, quit clowning around. Go get something to eat too. And with that, I'm gonna have to sit there and tell you all to keep calm and treasure on. And until next time, we'll see you on the flip side, yeah? Yeah?
Yeah.
All right, you all enjoy the rest of your day. We got to go feed the beast. Yummy, 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 yummy. And the rain's
Alright.
coming down even harder, so that makes it really nice. I gotta run inside of the house, get all drenched. I guess I don't have to take a shower then. I might as well just start scripting on the way in. All good. All right. Y'all be cool. Keep calm, treasure on, and we'll see you next time. Adios, muchachos.